It's okay. Off your mind, it's okay. Off your mind,
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us, call them hate speech. But fear not, Maiyegun don't come. Ingo torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun diary Politico, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. This one not the off in mind, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Can in the touchlight every corner, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. See them talk say make we off mind, but thank God say Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun diary Politico, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. This one not they off in mind, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Maiyegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Maiyegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Poor man picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make you shout, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun diary Politico, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo.
Their responsibilities, because you can see from our northernization policy that in 1952 when I came here there weren't 10 northerners in our civil service here. Then I tried to have it northernized, and now all important posts are being held by northerners.
Is this policy of filling all key posts in the north solely with northerners and not with other Nigerians a temporary or a permanent one?
In actual fact, what it is a northerner first. If you can't get a northerner, then we take an expatriate like yourself on contract. If we can't, then we can employ another Nigerian, but on contract too. This is going to be permanent, I should say, as far as I can foresee, because it will be rather dangerous to see the number of boys who are now turning from all our learning institutions coming out with having no work to do. I'm sure whichever government of the day might be, it will feel rather embarrassed, and it might even lead to bloodshed.
Doesn't this damage the idea, sir, of all people in all regions in Nigeria being fellow citizens of one country?
Well, it might, but you are, new to our region, but how many northerners are employed in the east or in the west? The answer is no. And if there are, there may be 10 laborers employed only in the...
Hello there. Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Maiyegun live.
bó bá ṣe rere àní Maiyegun máa wí. MaiyegunDiary Maiyegun ó sì tún ṣe rere wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. MaiyegunDiary MaiyegunDiary diary Politico.
Share the broadcast, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell them that Maiyegun tonight is going to be history revisited. History night.
Ani Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ dódódódó. MaiyegunDiary
Yes. Yeah.
Ani ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Maiyegun ti dé.
It was George Santayana, so to say, that said, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Tonight, we are going to revisit history that changed, or an event that changed the course of a new nation then, Nigeria, forever. The price that millions of us are paying for today. And as they say, those who, in fact, they will call you a revisionist. I think that's the word they will use. Being a revisionist is not a bad idea, but being a prisoner of history is the worst thing that anybody can actually do to themselves. So tonight, I will do my best, as usual, to take you through the event of 1965, 1966, January, as well as the rematch of July 28, 1966. And a year after that, the pogrom, the genocide that is tagged the Nigeria Civil War. And what happened aftermath? That you, me, all of us who are the descendants of those who actually did that are still paying the price. Just for your sake, when you read your history, please, for your own sake, do not be a prisoner of your history. Read them, learn from them, for one reason and one reason only: never to make the same mistake that brought us here. Exactly. So share the broadcast. Tell them that Maiyegun today, we are about to start.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o. Maiyegun máa wí. Ayé ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Maiyegun ti dé. Òwúrọ̀ olóṣèlú. Maiyegun máa wí. Ayé ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Maiyegun ti dé. Ayé ẹ̀sùnra kì í.
Thank you.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Thank you. The relevance and purpose of this broadcast is going to tell on the young people in Nigeria and outside Nigeria who have been misled, misinformed, and in fact, to keep all of this away, the history that is so important to give you the real light, understanding on all that are happening in Nigeria today. They hid them away because they had to turn criminals into heroes that Nigerians and Nigeria continue to accord respect, regard, and honor, which has now been the foundation of Nigeria, where criminals are in charge of the country. How? Yeah, crimes pay in Nigeria. You just have to choose which side of the block you want to belong to while you are perpetrating your criminal act, because you get rewarded, especially if your own type of criminal mind has to do strongly with ethnic hate. And then, well, blacks won't tell you that they are racist too. I'll come to that. Something happened to Nigeria, a new nation, just about 5 years old. And this new nation, where, I mean, it's like a conglomeration of more other nations who came together under one accord that led to independence. What was that accord? Day your day, mo day our day. But politicians, there was a time I was defining politics and politicians. So I said, politicians, right? Or let me say politics is a means of creating a problem, right? And then pretending to be finding a solution to it. And politicians are the characters, the actors that actually create the problems through politics. Then they also offer themselves as the savior, the solution finders for the problems that they have created. Now, when you are reading your history, ladies and gentlemen, please don't go back and read your history with the expectation that your forebearers, your ancestors, they were innocent, they were saints. In fact, they did everything so good. No, they didn't. That's one thing, one first regret you are going to find out when you begin to read the history of your own ancestors, is that they were never a saint. None of them was. So just like all of us, they did good, they did bad, and they did horrible things. Unfortunately, the horrible things that they did, the consequences of all those horrible things, they didn't leave us even long after they were gone. Many of them. Some of them are still here. Nigeria gained independence as 3 regions, representing a total of over 257 ethnic nationalities with over 500 different languages. But a little bit segmented in a way that people who share so much in common, live in proximity or so close to one another, they were able to form regions. These were the regions that went into an agreement of independence with what was then called parliamentary system of government. Parliamentary system of government means control your region if your political party wins the election there. Which simply means in the first republic, everybody was on their own until something happened. And what happened? Politics. And I'm not going to go into all of that, by the way. The politics pushed them to this side, to that side, and they started forming a bloc. And in all of this, for those who are the first generation soldiers in Nigeria, they are not like the soldiers you have today. They were like real professionals. Seriously, you might be a soldier. Back then, you are also a student studying one professional course that you are also going to be needed. I mean, that's going to be needed in the course of your military profession. That was how it was then. They were sending them for different professional courses, which some of them include administration, governance, accounting, law, and all of that, though in military. So the first people who saw through the flamboyant and then the facade called leadership in Nigeria, from the north to the east, from the east to the west, were the young soldiers of that era. Now, look at this. At the time, there was actually no real pressure until 1963, when Nigeria, according to them, became a republic, whatever that means. A republic then, which means some are now attempting to be the leader of the country by expanding with their own, expanding out of their own space to other people's spaces. These are politicians doing all of that too. Meanwhile, the rest of the population were just living their life normally until it escalated in 1964, starting from southwest Nigeria. That saw Awolowo jailed for treason. Now, all these were cooking up, right, politically. Underneath, by 1965, the young soldiers in the military, they felt like they've had enough. And listen to this as well. A young soldier, and he was actually a major. His name is Major Kaduna Unzeogu. Said was the person who proposed that, look at the flamboyant life of these politicians. Look at all of the wastages. Look at all the corruption. This is not good for our new country. They were the first who muted the idea of one country under one rule. Remember, that was not the idea of independence of Nigeria. We have nothing in common other than serving same colonial master who decided to give us independence based on their own understanding of us. Parliamentary. Don't join them together. There was never anywhere in any of their fact-checked history where anybody was handed over to anybody. No, it didn't happen. Everyone was independent. Every region was independent until politicians started politics. By 1965, like I said, Unzeogu, who was born and raised in Kaduna, northern Nigeria, met with other northern soldiers from those who have also given a fact-checked record of Unzeogu. He speaks more Hausa than he understands Igbo, right? So he was able to interact with other northern soldiers who were feeling same thing. According to the biography, they said, if the time that Unzeogu offered that advice that they should plan a coup that would topple all of the politicians from across Nigeria, their plan was not to kill anybody, by the way. Honestly, according to them, they had no plan of killing anybody. The plan was to arrest them, those leaders from the 3 regions, okay? 4 leaders from the north, 2 from the west, and 2 from the eastern region. They will be arrested, put on house arrest, and a new government will be declared. That was the plan. Not just the politicians, including those they suspected to be senior military officers. Yeah, in the north, in the east, in the west. They said when Unzeogu raised this idea, the first people he discussed it with were the northern soldiers. They said if they opposed it, they would have killed him right there, right then. Listen to this. So by all this time, there was absolute nothing wrong with the Igbos, the Hausas, the Yorubas, and all the rest of other ethnic nationalities. Nothing wrong until politicians started politics, like I said. The game of creating problems and at the same time offering solutions. But what they were not prepared for was that a mutiny from the military. So they singled out all their leaders too in the military, in the police, to be arrested. And if they resist arrest, they must be killed. That was the order. Now, guess what? When they launched, when they all agreed, it was going to be in the new year of January 1966. So, what happened? In the morning of the January 15, 1966, these following young majors in Nigerian, supposed Nigeria military, then they were their leader, Kaduna Unzeogu, Emmanuel Ife Ajuna, Timothy Onwuatuegu, Chris Anuforo, Don Okafor, Humphrey Shukuka, and Adewale Ademoyega. These were the senior military officers that will lead other junior military officers across Nigeria for this mutiny. There was nothing like Igbos fighting Hausa. Don't you know? Until this 15th of January, 1966, 57 years ago. So when they went out, they were supposed to, like I said, arrest and this and that. It escalated, right? Nzeogwu himself led his own mutiny soldiers that met with the premier of northern Nigeria, and that was right. The man I played this video earlier, Ahmadu Bello. Tafawa Balewa was the prime minister. Suddenly, the killing started. Now, guess what happened? Immediately after, according to them, their intention was not to kill, but it happened. Now, the casualties. First was the prime minister, Tafawa Balewa. The next was Ahmadu Bello, the premier. Then the premier of Western Region, Samuel Adoke Akintola. The finance minister of the time, Festus Okotiebo, was also killed. Ahmed Ben Musa, who happened to be the Bello's senior assistant at the time. That's Ahmadu Bello's secretary on for security or so. Then they have this Afsat Bello, Latifat Ademulegun, Zarumi Sadauno, and then Ahmed Pategi. These were the civilians killed, right? Then the military officers, or let's say the military and the police officers killed were the Brigadier General Samuel Ademulegun, Zakaria Maimalari, Colonel Raf Shodende, Colonel Kor Muhammad, Lieutenant Colonel Abogo Lagema, Lieutenant Colonel James Palm, Lieutenant Colonel Arthur Unegbe, Sergeant Daramola Oyegoke, right? And then we have PC Johanna, that's police commissioner, Johanna Gakawa, Lance Corporal Musa Nembo, PC Akman, Handuka, PC Agai Lai, Philip Lewande. Now, this was on the 15th of January. But somehow, surprisingly, right, when this coup was going on, right, Aguyi Nrosi, who was like stationed in Lagos, GOC there, was meant to be arrested, but the person, Ifeanyi Junior, who was supposed to carry out the coup in Lagos, surprisingly, didn't do anything. Kaduna Nzeogwu in Abuja Kaduna was expecting that the news would break, all the radios will be broadcasting the news of the coup. Unfortunately, it wasn't happening. So this was when, they've killed all the leaders. By the leadership and all that, Nigeria had no leader except the person who was the Senate president at the time, Orisu Nwafor. So now, Nwafor, who was like by accident became the president, the leader of Nigeria, right, decided, not a coup at the time, because at the time, the Nrosi and Co. and his own team, they were able to recover in a way to repel Kaduna Nzeogwu and the rest of their coup. So the civilian decided to hand over to the military. This was what gave birth to the first military council in Nigeria. The coup plotters were summarily arrested, right, and locked up. Nrosi is now the leader of Nigeria. The decision to force Nigeria to become one country by this action of the 15th of January 1966 was maintained by Nrosi. But that's actually not what really led to what we are now witnessing today. Nrosi, who survived that coup, ended up being somebody now blamed for the coup. How? Remember, when the names of the coup leaders were mentioned, immediately, this statement from Ahmadu Bello before his death, right, just spread like wildfire. That was the genesis, the beginning of the endless massacre and genocide against the Igbos in Nigeria. Remember I said politicians play all their game, and from record, when the coup failed and Ironsi became the president, a lot of Igbos of that time, they celebrated the emergence of Ironsi as the leader of Nigeria. That was their own greatest undoing, because that just validated the fear that has already been sort of brewing in northern Nigeria by who? Just the same politicians. This guy, I'll repeat it, please.
Their responsibilities, because you can see from our northernization policy that in 1952, when I came here, there weren't 10 northerners in our civil service here. Then I tried to have it northernized, and now all important posts are being held by northerners.
Is this policy of filling all key posts in the north solely with northerners and not with other Nigerians a temporary or a permanent one?
In actual fact, what it is a northerner first. If you can't get a northerner, then we take an expatriate like yourself on contract. If we can't, then we can employ another Nigerian, but on contract too. This is going to be permanent, I should say, as far as I can foresee, because it will be rather dangerous to see the number of boys who are now turning from all our learning institutions coming out with having no work to do. I'm sure whichever government of the day might be, it will feel rather embarrassed, and it might even lead to bloodshed.
Doesn't this damage the idea, sir, of all people in all regions in Nigeria being fellow citizens of one country?
Well, it might, but you are, new to our region, but how many northerners are employed in the east or in the west? The answer is no. And if they...
So this was the genesis. It was like validation of the fear that the politicians are already spreading. It is northerners first. Of course, that was the idea of that independence in Nigeria. It was meant to be the Westerners first, and that was why they had their government. Autonomy, that was what they got. Autonomous Western region, autonomous Eastern region, autonomous Northern region. But it was deeper than that. Now, the idea of northerner first, that has been like being implanted in them. And don't forget, one of those who were advising Sadauno, Ahmadu Bello, was the father of today's Sheikh Osama bin Gumi. So the idea was northern first. There was nothing wrong. Nothing is wrong with that. But killing our leaders. Now it is all about how to control us. And remember the coup plotters. In one of them who survived, his name is Adewale Ademoyega, who was part of the coup that toppled and destroyed the First Republic and Independence Republic of Nigeria. In his own book, after, he said, in that book called Why We Struck, he said, in quote, "There was no decision at our meeting to single out any ethnic group for elimination. Our intentions were honorable. Our views were national, and our goals were idealistic. Even those marked for arrest, 4 were northerners, 2 easterners, and 2 westerners, according to him. So they had no, they had no intention, do you get that, of eliminating a certain ethnic group in their coup that they were plotting. But that's not what ended up happening. It was easier transited to what has now become the foundational hatred that Nigerians have against one another to this day. And it's going to be like that till eternity, until you go back to what your forebearers actually signed up for. Autonomous regions, independent regions that could do their own thing without any threat or interference, as you might see, from any other part. Do you get that? So what happened is that they were able to transit that. In fact, I have here the speech that what do you call it, Nzegu actually gave when their coup, you know, the broadcast of Nzegu after the coup. Talking about why, you know, like reading his own speech. And the content of the speech will give you an idea too, just for this broadcast before I go forward. And I'll show you a bit of that things too. So in his own speech, when the guys he expected to act in Lagos failed to act, before the military moved and crushed the, crushed the coup, he released this statement. Sorry, I'll read that to you. He said, in the name of the Supreme Council of the Revolution of the Nigerian Armed Forces, I declare martial law over the northern provinces of Nigeria. The constitution is suspended and the regional government and elected assemblies are hereby dissolved. All political, cultural, tribal, and trade union activities, together with all demonstrations and unauthorized gatherings, excluding religious worship, are banned until further notice. The aim of the Revolution Council or Revolutionary Council is to establish a strong, united, and prosperous nation, free from corruption and internal strife. Our method of achieving this is strictly military, but we have no doubt that every Nigerian will give us maximum cooperation by assisting the regime and not disturbing the peace during the slight changes that are taking place. That slight changes changed the history of Nigeria, changed the course of the ship. Let me tell you something about changing the course quickly before I continue, right? Changing the course was like the British colonists, right? They have built an enterprise, and that enterprise is Nigeria. And this Nigeria is going to be put on a floating sea, like a ship. And we are going to set its course. You know what I mean? 30-degree north, 20-degree east, blah, blah, blah. You know, as all those people who do voyaging. So British sat down and they draw what will be the course of the ship, the life of this new ship, Nigeria. So they set it, starting from the structure of all these millions of people being forced together, despite their differences, right? Now, this is what we're going to do. Parliamentary system of government. Let everybody handle their own affair. Nobody interferes in anybody's affair, right? Then after that, yeah, we are going to continue it as business as usual by ensuring that those who are going to lead all those regions are going to remain responsive to us or responsible to us. 1966 changed that course. And when you now do all of the auditing of those years, the only people who have lost in everything are the people who are Nigerians. The British are still making their deal. The politicians that are ruling Nigeria, be it military or civilian, they are still making their own kill. And the people are still paying the price, just like today. The foundation of the hatred of Nigeria. The reasons why you as a young person who was born years after all of this is also harboring that hate. You are harboring that kind of ignorance. And you are building on that, but you are making one mistake, telling yourself that you are likely going to change the course back through what you were born into. A mistake. Right. So according to Kaduna Nzegu said, my dear countrymen, you will hear and probably see a lot being done by certain bodies charged by the Supreme Council with the duties of national integration, supreme justice, and general security and property recovery. As an interim measure, all permanent secretaries, corporation chairmen, and senior heads of a department are allowed to make decisions until the new organs are functioning, so long as such decisions are not contrary to the aims and wishes of the Supreme Council. Unplanned, impromptu, And you can tell from the content of the speech, but can't you? No minister or parliamentary secretary possesses administrative or other forms of control over any ministry, or even if they are not considered too dangerous to be arrested. This is not a time for long speech making, and so let me acquaint you with 10 proclamations in the extraordinary orders of the day, which the Supreme Council has promulgated. This will be modified as the situation improves. You are hereby warned that looting, arson, homosexuality, rape, embezzlement, bribery or corruption, obstruction of the revolution, sabotage, subversion, false alarms, and assistance to foreign invaders are all offenses punishable by death sentence. Remember, it was in the 60s. Revolution was going on all over. Was going on or happening all over the world. Revolution in the North America, South America, revolution going all over Europe, revolution everywhere. Yeah, in fact, independence that they were given to Africa at the time was due to revolution too. So he was using revolution in his speech for a reason, right? Or homosexuality in 1960? Come on, man. Anyway, spying, harmful or injurious publications and broadcast of troop movements or actions will be punished by any suitable sentence deemed fit by the local military commander. Shouting of slogans, loitering, and rowdy behavior will be rectified by any sentence of incarceration or any more severe punishment deemed fit by the local military commander. Doubtful loyalty will be penalized by imprisonment or any more severe sentence. Illegal possession or carrying of firearms, smuggling or trying to escape with documents, valuables, including money or other assets vital to the running of any establishment will be punished by death sentence. Wavering or sitting on the fence or failing to declare open loyalty with the revolution will be regarded as an act of hostility, punishable by any sentence deemed suitable by the local military commander. Tearing down an order of the day or proclamation or other authorized notices will be penalized by death. This is the end of the extraordinary order of the day, which you will soon begin to see displayed in public. My dear countrymen, no citizen should have anything to fear so long as the citizen is law-abiding, and if that citizen has religiously obeyed the native laws of the country and those set down in every heart and conscience since 1st October 1960, you should not worry. According to him, our enemies are the political profiteers, the swindlers, the men in high and low places that seek bribes and demand 10%. Those that seek to keep the country divided permanently so that they can remain in office as ministers or VIPs, at least. The tribalists, the nepotists, those that make the country look big for nothing before international circles, those that have corrupted our society and put the Nigerian political calendar back by their words and deeds. Wow, I like that. That was Nzegu speaking in January 15, 1966. That sounds so similar. Everyone who came and duped you and destroyed Nigeria eventually said almost same thing. They were fighting political profiteers, tribalists, divisionists, people who are dividing us so that they can keep ruling, so that Nigeria can keep being useless, good for nothing. That sounded so similar, doesn't it? Let's continue. Said, those are our enemies. Like good soldiers, we are not promising anything miraculous or spectacular. But what we do promise every law-abiding citizen is freedom from fear and all forms of oppression. Sounds so revolutionary. And again, freedom from general inefficiency and freedom to live and strive in every field of human endeavor, both nationally and internationally. Well, that sounds promising, but never happened. We promise that you will no more be ashamed to say that you are a Nigerian. Oh my God. So people have been saying that they are not Nigerians since 1960s. Listen, people got new country. They seemed happy. But this young Major, Nzegu, in his military speech, after overthrowing that first republic, was actually saying something like, you will be proud to say you are a Nigerian. Really? That means people have been rejecting since almost 60 years now that they are not Nigerians. They are not proud of what it was. And we were born into that. And we were told that we are the leaders of tomorrow. We were told that we are the future of Nigeria. They lied to us. 6 years into independence, a major general in Nigerian army who staged a coup, trying to stop the profiteers, the racketeers, was referring to the Nigerians of those times that they were not proud. Grandpa, grandma, uncle, auntie, in your 60s, in your 70s, you are blaming us, young people of today, of being unpatriotic, of not being proud of the mess that you have done, you have made. You see why we don't respect people who don't deserve any respect? Do you now know why? Nigeria has been so wrong for so long. We are just like an experimental species for them. They are just using us as an experiment. So people were not proud to be Nigerians in 1960s. Wow. Finally, he said, I leave you with a message of good wishes and ask for your support at all times so that our land, watered by the Niger and Benue, between the sandy wastes and Gulf of Guinea, washed in salt by the mighty Atlantic, shall not detract Nigeria from gaining sway in any great aspect of international endeavor. My dear countrymen, this is the end of this speech. I wish you all good luck and hope you will cooperate to the fullest in this job which we have set ourselves of establishing a prosperous nation and achieving solidarity. It never happened. 6 months after that, something happened, and it was called a rematch. A rematch from the young soldiers in the military. This time around, the northern soldiers. But before then, Ironsi became the commander-in-chief. And they were asking him, what are you going to do to these coup plotters that you have locked up in prison? Since we have apprehended them and all of that, what's going to happen? So they suspected that Ironsi won't do anything or was delaying in acting or doing anything. So the following soldiers decided to act. We will not let this go unchallenged. Now, it's a long list, so I'll have to read them for the sake of those who are going to watch this later. And it was called a rematch. Before this 28th of July, 1966, the North, they didn't take this coup lightly. On record, in that same 1966, in a single day, more than 1,000 soldiers were marched out from different barracks across Nigeria, and they were shot right there in their own barracks by their own fellow soldiers, and they were shot and executed in a single day. Also on record, in a single day, more than 400 people were slaughtered on the street of Kano alone, just Kano alone. 400, it was hell. And guess those that were slaughtered? They were Igbos. This coup is not about Nigeria, Jare. This coup is not about the corruption of the politicians. This coup is not about all this they said. This coup was about the Igbos trying to control Nigeria and keep everybody as slaves. And we are not going to make that happen. Imagine you reading your history, and that is the only thing you remember, because that's what they told you. And that's exactly what they keep repeating to millions and millions and millions, especially the millions of younger northerners. This is not true. This is not real. The criminals, and I call them criminals, the politicians are fighting themselves for supremacy and control. And here you are paying the price, just like your own forebearers paid. And this whole thing is no other reason for, there's no other reason for it than just to keep you in perpetuity of enslavement. You have no idea, but you would. In July 1966, 28th of July precisely, another coup was underway. It lasted for 4 days. By this date, ladies and gentlemen, they didn't have to tell the Igbos of that time that they should go back home. They were not wanted. In fact, killing Igbos or anybody. And you know, another sad thing that Nigeria played on you. Back in the days, once you are from the eastern Nigeria, you were referred to as Easterners. But guess what? The population of the Igbos, which is the majority of the population of the Easterners, does not make the 100% of those who make up the Easterners, as you have found out today, Abi, which it was then. So they were targeting the Easterners, and they were calling them Igbos, simply because they share the same tribe with the people who are playing power play over Nigeria. They didn't have to tell them. The pogrom was so massive that it was recorded that between January 1966 and July 1966, more than 3,000 Igbos have been slaughtered needlessly across the northern Nigeria alone. So it became obvious. Mass migration back to the east. It was so obvious that the idea of war coming was so present at the time that some people were now like, Nigeria may lead to war soon. Yes. So in July 28th, on the 28th of July, 1966, the following soldiers, they marched and they went straight for those they believe are the sympathizers with the January coup plotters, and it was called a rematch. This time around, it was a rematch between the northern soldiers versus the eastern soldiers. But that is just a facade, right? The majority of the soldiers, just like the majority of the soldiers in the first coup, right, were of Igbo origin and Yoruba origin. The second coup plotters includes, don't be surprised, the Yorubas, the Igbos, and the Hausas, but populated by the northerners, the Hausas. Now, the following soldiers who staged the rematch, which now saw more death than that of January, which now saw, including more genocide. Like I said, this was when the course of Nigeria's ship changed to the direction you are witnessing today, the one that is now using our blood, the blood of the innocent people, your blood, my blood, everyone's blood is already donated as for the survival of Nigeria. You just don't know when they're going to demand it. And they won't tell you when. The course changed again by the soldiers. The principal coup plotters of the era then, the rematch, were Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Akaham, who was the commander of the 4th Battalion in Kaduna. You have Lieutenant Colonel Muritala Mohammed, who was an inspector of signals in Lagos. You have Major General Major Theophilus Danjuma, who was the principal staff officer of the army headquarters in Lagos. You had Major Abba Kyari, then the artillery in charge of the weapons in Kaduna. You had a Major General Martin Adamu. He was the leader of the 2nd Battalion in Lagos. You have Major Shitu Alao, a Nigerian Air Force headquarters in Lagos, in charge of the Air Force. Then you have Major Musa Usman. That one was in charge of was also part of the Air Force in Lagos. Then you have the captain. This one is Captain Joseph Garba. He was in charge of the Federal Guard, the soldiers that are going to be marched from Lagos. Then you have you have Issa Buka. Issa Buka was also in charge of the Federal Guard as well in Lagos. You have Ibrahim Taiwo, captain. He was in charge of the garrison. He's a garrison commander in Yaba. You had Baba Usman, GSO. He was a grade 2 army, whatever. You have the Abdul DS Waya. That one was from Kaduna. You have Lieutenant Muhammadu Buhari. He was 2nd Brigade officer in Lagos. Lieutenant Ibrahim Babangida. He was first reconnaissance, reconnaissance squad officer, or Kaduna, something. Then you have Ibrahim Tanko, who was of 4th Battalion in Badon. William Wabi, he also from 2nd Battalion in Lagos. Maman Vasta, 4th Battalion in Badon. Bukasuka Dimka, Military Training College, Abuja, Kaduna. Yakubu Dambo, 3rd Battalion, Kaduna. Garba Dada, Adjutant Battalion Officer, Ibadan, 4th Battalion, Ibadan. Lieutenant Garba Duba, another squadron from Kaduna. Muhammad Balarabe Haladu, that one was from Ibadan. Malami Mahe Nasarawa, 2nd Battalion in Lagos. James Onoja, 4th Battalion, Ibadan. Lieutenant Abdullahi Shelleng, Company Commander, 4th Battalion, Ibadan. Paul Shabri Tafa is a Federal Guard from Federal Guards in Lagos. DS Abubakar, Abeokuta Garrison. Sonny Abacha, 3rd Battalion, Kaduna. Muhammadu Gadonasco, Artillery, Weapons, Kaduna. Paul Dixon, Sabo Kwale, that one they are from Abeokuta Garrison. John Shagaya, that name ring bell. The Shagaya family, oil block in Nigeria. These were the owners of Nigeria after this rematch. These were the people who shared Nigeria for a long time. And you know them, right? So when they staged theirs, they now presented the leader of that coup was Muritala, and the purpose of that coup was to avenge the death of their leaders, starting with the premier, the Ahmadu Bello, as well as the prime minister, Tafawa Balewa. Excuse me. So when they were done, they were lost. What are we going to do next? What should we do now? Well, there's nothing to do. They have killed the Rossi. They killed the Rossi in Ibadan. Kida Dekunle, that was hosting him, right? They killed him too. So what are we going to do now? Because they were scared. All these guys, right? They have killed enough Igbos. They have killed their leaders. They have killed everyone they could see in sight. They ran back to the northern Nigeria. That's what happened. They ran back. And they were waiting for the eastern Nigeria to start a war. But that didn't happen. Azikiwe was cruising. He was on a cruise ship to Europe from December. By the time the coup was happening in Nigeria in January, he was already in the Caribbean, enjoying his life, validating the reason why Nzogu and his boys plotted the coup. So what happened after? He just stayed here. Nigeria have no leader. That was when the British walked in again. No, you can't. You can't break up from Nigeria. This is not actually the time to break up. This is a pure self-destructive button you are pressing. Just nominate one of you and form a government. We can always put all this image and all that together for you abroad. Listen, whatever you need to start, we can get you started. This was when they now nominated a bachelor, a young man, Yakubu Gowon, to lead them. While the likes of Muritala, Buhari, Abacha, Babangida were promoted into different military positions, and this was the beginning of the northern Nigeria dominance of the Nigeria military, Nigeria defense, and anything that has to do with security in Nigeria. They never lost that chance anymore. When it comes to artillery, armory, they are always going to be in control of that because of the fear of, imagine, since 1966, they have been fearful and scared that one day, the Igbos are going to rise to power and they're going to come back in revenge. This fear is what has been buried in the history of Nigeria that they don't want the rest of you to see, but the fear is always there. That is why an average northerner who is a victim of a bad governance, terrible leadership, will be beating and thumping his chest and say, we will continue to rule you. No, sir, you are not ruling anyone. Everybody is in the slave camp. It's just that some of you feel kind of privileged in slavery. Listen. So what happened after that? The takeover started. How do we make sure the Igbos never have a chance? Now they couldn't even fight us. We have killed all the people we can kill. We've done all of this. They don't even have the ball to fight us. But something happened too. In a space of 6 months, Dainrosi became the military head, cancelled the constitution, cancelled the regionalism and all of that Nzogu announced. And then he made the appointment. He appointed the young Cambridge graduate, young Odumegu Ojukwu, who enlisted in the Nigerian army, and he has risen so fast to the highest rank among the ranking officers from Eastern Nigeria. You know, back then, the Northern Nigeria would send soldiers. Western Nigeria will send soldiers. Eastern Nigeria will send soldiers. They are called, they will send young men and women. They are like, you will contribute. They give them tallies. Everybody have tallies. Okay? But in this process, majority of the Easterners, like Westerners, right? They invested so much in education and educating this or that, right? So the likes of Ojukwu, when he returned back to Nigeria, a son of a billionaire, right? Enlisted in the military. When he enlisted in the military, within a space of a short time, right, he is risen to the almost the highest rank of that era, when Irosi was picking people to lead all these regions. Remember, they cancelled regions. They cancelled all the leadership and the law of the regions, but the regions were still there. The structures of the regions were still there. So they needed somebody to man those in order to make it look like they have a government in the country. So when he looked around, he called Ojukwu, and he was appointed the military head of the Eastern Nigeria. So when this whole fighting back happened, the likes of Ojukwu came under pressure. What were those pressure? I'll tell you. Between January 1966 and June 1966, when pogroms were happening across northern Nigeria, the Igbos in northern Nigeria, or the Easterners in northern Nigeria, they were looking forward to the backing and defense of their leaders from the East. For the first time, everybody realized that you came from somewhere. They might have told you that you are Nigerian. No, you are not. You actually came from somewhere, and you need to go back to where you come from. So Ojukwu, under that pressure of the Igbos returning, and at the same time trying to make a deal with whoever is going to be the leader in the northern Nigeria to plead for safety and safe passage of the Igbos and the Easterners from northern Nigeria, right? While all this were going on, the Igbos were being slaughtered, they were being killed, they were being hunted. Seriously, on record. This is not like Igbos fighting Hausa Fulani or nothing. It was just like, if you are Igbo, if they catch you anywhere, you are dead. It was that bad. That people, Igbos, the Easterners started forming their own small army to defend themselves in a small space, waiting for their Eastern government to come and rescue them, or plead with the Northern government to keep them safe. This whole pressure got truncated by July. At that time, Ojukwu had to start calling the Easterners to return back home. Remember, I said their coup was just a rematch, a revenge, no plan. Remember, the only person or the only group of people who had planned for their coup in Nigeria history were the Unzeogus. They were those who sat down for months. They appointed people, how they are going to carry out their coup across Nigeria, who is going to take over from those places. Ironsi, who was not part of the coup, had to come in and then implement what Unzeogu couldn't by picking people to fill those places. Remember? So when the Muritala and Co did their own, and and they ran back to the north, they didn't make any appointment. They weren't. So Ojukwu then automatically became like the president of an autonomous Eastern Nigeria. He wasn't alone. With other people working with him behind there, they were under this pressure. So they had to make an announcement. By the early 1967, they had to make an announcement that all Easterners should leave and return home. It wasn't a good one. A terrible part of Nigeria history that they don't want you to know. Because if you do, all those that are today your heroes, dead and alive, you will stone them. In your mind and everywhere you see them, people were killed, slaughtered for this. So that was the foundation for what will later become the Biafra War. It seems they didn't have enough. Our blood spilled as a form of revenge for the killings of the northern leaders by the likes of Babangida, Buhari, Abacha, and Muritala and Co. So their disdain, their total disdain for anything Eastern Nigeria from that moment became insatiable, like something that they just couldn't do away with anymore. They just had to do something that if they have to wipe all the Igbos out of Nigeria completely, then so be it. You won't believe this. So it was this long-held, this hatred that has now become what has become an institutionalized hatred in Nigeria of today. But the question is this: of what advantage is wiping off the Igbos from Igbo land? Of what advantage is that to an average northerner that is struggling and suffering in the midst of plenty? Of what advantage, again, is keeping the Igbos in Nigeria? Is it just to keep all of us to continue to suffer together? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Now, long story short, it didn't take long. In fact, it didn't last a year before they declared war on the people of Eastern Nigeria. And war it was. A genocidal war. Oh my. Another horrible part of Nigeria history that they will continue to double down, because then you say it the way it is, you are never going to see a lot of these criminals same way again. This was what brought the idea of a one Nigeria. To now break the idea of you being independent or being on your own as your forefathers, your ancestors signed up. They started creating states to segregate you, demarcate you, divide you more to what you now have today. But you know something, like I said, if you go back to your history, please don't go back to that history reading it as if to say you are going to read your ancestors as saints. Our ancestors did horrible things to themselves. Horrible things. They did good, they did bad, and they did horrible things. And it is your own sort of a right to know that. And it is also very good for you that when you know this, you don't inherit that hate or hatred. Look around you. Look at Nigeria. Look how divided Nigeria is today. What is it that they haven't tried? What? Prayers, peace meeting, national conference. What is it? What kind of government haven't you tried? The moment they change the course of a new nation, which is conglomeration of other nations, then you change the course of their destiny. And that is why nobody can really define who is a Nigerian and where are we going? Where are we? Nobody can, except those who are just going to milk your vulnerability, like those who have done in the past, that presented themselves as your leaders. I mean, people do say blacks are not racist. Do you know that? Yeah, people say that. No, I'm a black man, I'm not racist. Ha 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 ha. You haven't met Nigerians, have you? I'll give you instances. Even Nigerians will tell you, I'm not racist. Okay, maybe they are tribalist. But what's the difference? Race, tribe. They are just what tells our history, our story, where we have come from. We all came from somewhere. All of us came from somewhere. So if you want to know how racist Nigerians are, and they don't admit, very easy. Some of you will listen to some of these lines I'm about to use now. And at that moment, you'll be like, oh my God. So I'm actually racist, Sha. And I didn't mean it, oh. Yes, maybe you are not. Oh, yeah, Jesus. So I am actually tribalist too. I didn't know. Let me use some lines. I am a Yoruba man, and I am very proud a Yoruba man. Ijebu man. Very, very proud one indeed. But don't be surprised if you read and somebody says, oh my God, wow, I have never seen or heard any Yoruba man that is so straightforward and sincere like this man. I always believe that Yorubas are like betrayers. You know, Yorubas are very cunning. You know, I don't really trust Yorubas because you are not Yoruba. But if they say you are racist, you're going to rebuff it. No, I'm not. I mean, Yoruba, I have Yoruba friends. I have Hausa friends. I have Fulani friends. Oh, my dear sister, look at me. You are a racist person. You are tribalist. There is nothing wrong in that, by the way. But it is just the level of condescending in the tone and mind. No matter how, see, don't pretend, don't try to be a nice person. I mean, I said it nice. I didn't say horrible. No. That particular one is a racist statement. It is just the same thing like a white man or a white woman admitting and say, wow, oh dear, You are the most intelligent black person I have ever listened to. Honestly speaking, you changed my mind about black people. Really? Or you look around and you're like, oh my God, Uche, you are the first honest Igbo man I have seen in my life. Okay. How many Igbos have you met in your life? Well, not many, but I've heard a lot about them. My dear, you are racist. Yeah, you are. And listen, when you say those things, some of you are saying them from the position of sincerity sometimes, or position of scorn, or position of hatred that you are feigning and disguising as just being honest. I'm just being honest now. I have never seen an intelligent Aboki before. In fact, this is the first time I'm hearing an intelligent northerner, a sincere northerner. This is the first time I'm actually hearing a very honest Muslim. This is the first time I'm hearing this or that. Those are racist remarks. But in our climb, we believe more than what we say. You know that. Honestly speaking, right? Life is a teacher. The more you live, the more you learn. I might have found myself in that position before due to my own ignorance. But since I now know better, what did I do? I chose to do better. That is why I'm saying when you read your history, when you read the good, the bad, the ugly, and the horrible, and you now realize that your ancestors are not saints. Their actions and inactions contributed to what you and I are paying for today. Maybe the healing can start. Maybe the understanding can start. And then maybe we can actually go our separate ways with better understanding why we were never to be together in the first place. Speak grammar, speak in tongue, pray this or that. You cannot deceive somebody like me anymore. And that is why I'm saying, be the reader and a studier, a good student of your history, but never in your own life and for your own happiness. Be a prisoner of your history. Because what many people have inherited from Nigeria history is the hatred initiated, planted, watered, and grown to this humongous, this deadly Nigeria that we are living in today. We are still living a lie. You know that? Yeah, we are still lying to ourselves. Oh, you haven't met the unity beggars. Yeah, those who are like, let's forget all of that. Let's just move on. No, you don't move on from such. Okay? You don't forget such. People said, and I think that was exactly what Gowon felt when he was given the power at that young age. Ignorant, uneducated, miseducated, completely no idea of what Nigeria was all about. But he was bestowed with power. And then he came out public and he said, after killing millions of people, needlessly, for nothing, he came back and he said, no winner, no vanquish. Let's move on. Let's just move on. Let's forget the whole thing. Let's move on. No, you don't move on from that. Haven't you seen that? Today, what happened in 1956? 1966, 1966, 1967, 1968, 1969, 1970. They are now rearing their heads today, fueling the same, the same hate, the same hatred and all of that, that is now sort of a crowding your charade of 2023 election. Haven't you seen that? Or can't you? It's not changing. You are still deceiving yourselves. So as young people watching me right now, I may be able to impact in your reasoning. I may be able to impact in your education. I may be able to help you in figuring it out, what the future holds for you in Nigeria, and not what these criminals are telling you. Okay? I am young like you, but I have limited time. I have so little time than some of you. Some of you are in your teens. Some of you are in your early 20s. Listen to me. Everything they have told you about Nigeria is a pure lie. Now, if you take your time to read the history, in that history that they're going to tell you or they have been telling you, buried in it, a lie as well, which is just to make sure that when your innocent soul is hungry for the right information about what is supposed to be your country, right? When you are not, what you are going to be fed with are going to be the hatred planted by the lies of greedy few who never had any real plan for any of us. Maybe they never even thought you and I will come to this world. But look at us here. I may be able to help you or save you under your innocent heart from the lies that are not going to make you a better Nigerian. There's no better Nigerian. Don't let anybody lie to you. You only have a better, pretentious Nigerians, patriotic Nigerians. You understand that? There's none. So before they now pollute or before they further destroy that your mind with further lies that makes you feel like maybe you have a chance, maybe you have a role to play. No, you don't. The only role they have for you is a role to further this madness, and you are going to be the victim of it. So in your history, where they have buried lies to poison your mind, I am here to say this to you. It's all pure lies. And lies only end in one thing: regret and death in some fatal situations. So here we are. Those who planted this seed of division, some of them are dead. Some of them are alive, but they are like half dead too. You are going to live here. You're going to be in this world. The world they created. Do you really want to live in that world with a lie? So the truth of the matter is this. Nigeria may be a country, but it wasn't meant to be one country. And that is the truth. And that is why those who are like unity beggars of today, yes, we call them unity beggars. Let us come together and unite. Let's forget all these our differences and just be our brothers' keepers. Let us pray to God to come and save us. Don't listen to them. Don't. Please don't. You need to listen to your conscience and your mind, which says what is wrongly forced and wedded together. Like your Bible says, right? Can two walk together except they agree? Ǹjẹ́ ẹni méjì lè arìn pọ̀ bí? Láì ṣe wípé wọ́n rẹ́. Ahmed will come back here and speak the Hausa for me. And then I'm going to wait for Ken to help me speak the Igbo, or any other of my Igbo brothers here who will help me say that. Can two walk together except they agree? Talk less of 3. Talk less of 4. Talk less of 257 ethnic nationalities except they agree. So don't listen to whatever anybody is telling you, whatever, right? It is called kicking the can down the road. Kicking the can down the road. Do you want to know another shocker? The people that brought us to this stage, starting from Muritala, Obasanjo, Gowon, Buhari, Danjuma, who else is there? Babangida, Sonny Abacha. It will shock you that they were actually in their 20s and in their 30s. I'll be right back.
Major Nziogwu, can you please give me an account of the night of the coup in Kaduna?
Well, it's rather something like the longest day. We started this off on the night of the 13th of January, when a night exercise was planned by the military college, which I command. We took our troops to the ground and taught them how to do night attacks. We didn't tell them what we were planning for, but at the end of the exercise, we took them out and showed them various places where they were to stand. and just remain in the vehicle. Next day, we went out again for the same type of exercise, and at the end, we issued them with ammunition this time, live ammunition, and told them that they were going back to the same place as they went yesterday, but this time they were to get certain people.
And they were with you, were they?
Oh, of course they did. Oh, they all supported us.
Did the sergeant himself attempt to fight?
Well, no. We didn't see him until the time we actually shot him. He ran away from his house when we fired the first few shots of anti-tank gun.
That was Kaduna Nzegu speaking there. Right. So which I was saying that those who contributed to this were in their so young ages at the time, and they took us through this roller coaster journey that I've seen millions of people slaughtered. Somebody is talking about what do you call it? The coup plotters, something like the coup plotters were going to release Awolowo from prison, and they are going to make him the prime minister, and the rest of that. Is part. No, that wasn't true. That's part of all the fallacies and lies that many of you have probably digested. That's why I'm saying that if you want to read your history, read it right, not because you want to go and pick on who is right or who is wrong, or what was right or what was wrong in this manner, right? Because at the end of the day, what you are going to inherit is going to be the hatred that is planted in there, which so many times, right, so many lies have been repeated and repeated and repeated, and it became true. Let me tell you something I know, okay? And you can call me names if you want to, because that's what some of you do, right? When you disagree like that, you just be like, yeah. But let me tell you, when they struck, right? When they struck in 1966, the retaliatory coup, Awolowo indeed was in jail, okay? But what happened? When Ezegu's coup failed and Irosi came on, he appointed Ojukwu to lead the Eastern Nigeria, right? And he himself in charge of, the GOC, or what do you call them? Grand Commander of the Armed Forces or whatever. Now, at this point, right, the coup plotters in their list, in their plans, right? If Awolowo that was in prison then, in their plan, they were actually intending to send more of those politicians to those prisons. There was never any of their plan to make anybody head of the government. You know what? I would advise, if what you read from your history is that one, please keep to it. I'm going to continue what I'm doing, okay? So what I was saying then is that they changed this whole course of this whole history. And in fact, hang on, I remember something, okay? So it was Gowon and the Gowon government that released Awolowo from prison. But being the head of the Eastern region at the time, Ojukwu, before the whole thing scattered, you know that, right? Before the whole war started and did that, right? When Ojukwu became, when Gowon became the head of state, Ojukwu remained the leader of the Eastern Nigeria. It didn't change that. So when the Gowon government decided to release him, this was like after months after the coup that happened in January. So yeah, they made him a deal. That's true. Okay. Ojukwu did not release Awolowo from prison. He couldn't even have released him. He didn't have such power at the time because it was the government of Nigeria that tried Awolowo for treason, and they locked him up in Calabar. So being the Eastern leader, Ojukwu welcomed Awolowo out of the prison, led him to the airport. And when he landed in Lagos, he was welcomed by the government led by Gowon. But again, if your intention is to read and learn from that history, not because you want to argue it or who is right or wrong, I think I have cleared that part for you. But the Awolowo played a role in further destruction of Nigeria, orchestrated by the military at the time. The answer is a big yes. And that's why I said, if you want to go and read your history because you want to find your own ancestors innocent of anything, then, well, I'm happy to break it to you. You'll be disappointed. So, fast forward to this time, young people. the characters that put this whole charade together today, some people have inherited this hatred, and some of you are actually witnessing it today. But you know the whole thing that we have figured out, no matter what side of the coin you want to belong to in this whole scheme, are you with me? At the end of the day, you are likely, if it is just to keep this one Nigeria together and ignore all of these vices, ignore all of these wrongdoings, and ignore the most vital one, that in Nigeria of today, from that same 1970, when Gowon came out and he denied all the genocide, denied all the killings, denied all the injustices, and he came out to say, no winner, no vanquish. It's not different from what today people are doing, telling you, let us just move on. Let us just come together. Let us just forget all of this. For the sake of our Nigeria. No. You are still living in denial. There is no one Nigeria. No, it was never one Nigeria, and it is never one Nigeria. The whole show, you need to come to terms and say, from 1970, that the Igbos have been singled out from the what make the Eastern Nigeria, because it wasn't the only Igbos that made up the Eastern Nigeria when Nigeria gained independence. You know that. But Nigeria of this northern what do you call it, the Hausas, the Fulani, the Kanuris, and the rest of them from this northern Nigeria, the elite, that they have kept after the war, they have kept the Cold War in place. Igbos are to be economically subdued. They are to be politically subdued. They are to be, security-wise subdued. By all means, they must remain targets of all that Nigeria want to use as scapegoat. It is called Cold War. Today, some of you will say, any smart thing, they are just like, they always like to claim victim. Why won't you say that when you actually didn't see them as one? And I've actually told my Biafran brothers and sisters anyway, a few times or many times, that all this I'm saying is not to, I'm not saying all of this because I want to make you feel good. I'm saying all of this because they have to be said. People need to know for real what happened. Yeah, they should. And they deserve to know, especially young people, from feeding on these lies and then furthering this hatred, division in a way. Yeah? Or in so many ways, rather. People need to know. I have figured it out that even the northerners, that they are made to believe that they are privileged in Nigeria, they are this or that. They are not spared from this old destruction. You know that. I figured it out that it's not about them. When they are flying those cards, I'm representing Igbo, I'm representing Yoruba, I'm speaking for my people of northern Nigeria. It's all lies. Lies. None of them is speaking for you. None of them is representing you. You are just their meal tickets into the dining table of Nigeria, where they are sharing your destiny and all that, your commonwealth. I have figured that out. And that's why when I speak out like this, it is to help young people to understand Nigeria better and should stop listening to unity beggars. Unity beggars are deniers. They are deniers of all of this. Nigeria denied that all this happened. And whenever they want to acknowledge it, they will say Military Remembrance Day. What the hell is Military Remembrance Day? They were celebrating the day, right? That the first coup, the second coup, and the subsequent coup. Nigeria never fought war. Nigerian soldiers never fought any war to defend Nigeria anywhere. Well, yeah. They sent them as a contingent to ECOMOG contingent. That was West African, ECOMOG soldiers. Nigeria never fought any war with any of our neighbor since before or after independence, ever. When it was time for Nigeria to defend, for the criminals in Nigeria to defend Nigeria in Bakassi Peninsula, Gowon gave the peninsula to Cameroon. Yes, he did. You don't know that. Yeah, the peninsula that Obasanjo finally came to resign again and gave to Cameroon. It was Gowon that first gave it to them. What do you think? Why do you think they divided the Eastern Nigeria to all the names you are hearing today? Niger Delta, Bakassi, Igbo region. Why do you think they do all of that? It all started back then, just to get rid of all that happened. See what they could do to get rid of this from history generally, but they couldn't. The Igbos didn't die. They wanted them dead and stay dead. They felt like they are conquered and they want them to stay conquered. How do you then say no winner, no vanquish? When the agenda is to what? Turn what was like a face-to-face war, genocide, into Cold War, a war of denial. So I'm not saying this because I want you, the Igbos, to feel all right. This is something that should have been said long time ago. This is something that a lot of us should know. Instead of people feeling like they hate Igbos. I hate Igbos. Why? They kill our leaders. They killed our leaders in 19... Who were your leaders they killed in 19 so and so? And how many of you have been slaughtered afterward? Trying to justify that. And since then, how much of advantage and development this has brought, that you are now, your leaders, your new leaders, and subsequent leaders who ruled Nigeria for 48 years out of 62 years independence of Nigeria. Yeah, they ruled 48 years, military and civilian. But they didn't make the northern Nigeria better. It's because the hatred planted in your history is the only one being shared. Isn't it? So don't let some old people that have become wasted their fossil, don't let them mislead you until you become one too, old, useless, and weak, full of regrets. Everything they told you about Nigeria is a lie. And unity begging is also a fraud. There is fundamental error with Nigeria. And that fundamental foundational error was laid in January 15, 1966. And since that time, nobody has made an effort to go back on course. And that course would have been us being on our own, independent of one another, and, come on, growing according to our own pace and resources, not what you have right now. So I just thought I should know. You should know. If you have read Nigeria history many times, and you have read what they did to one another, and then you look around to what is happening today, in my view, if you are castigating yourselves and then holding yourselves in this hateful kind of mindset, I don't care, just, this is for everybody. But when you pay attention very well, those who planted this seed, they did so because of their own personal, selfish, greedy, political survivor, which now transform into what we are now dealing with today. A lot of us are going to still kill ourselves in order to prove to ourselves that we are more superior to ourselves. But we can save ourselves from all of this. Our children, generations yet unborn, we can by being honest and say, listen, there was never a one Nigeria. There's no treaty. There's no treaty anywhere that people signed and said, we are coming together to be one under this arrangement. Until that happened, Nigeria is just it's just fake. And this has nothing to do with you being patriotic or not. This has nothing to do with you hating Nigeria or not. This is the reality. This is our life. This is something that has been taken for granted for so long, and due to our ignorance, poor education, miseducation, which are all deliberate, we are fighting the battle that those who started them are long gone and dead simply because we can't say the truth to ourselves. We will rule you, we will control you. Nobody's going to rule anybody or control anybody. That's why there's no unity. And you can't get unity by just wishing it. It is by justice, giving justice. I'm talking about justice. Nigeria will never give justice, but that won't stop people from demanding it. The division, the hatred, the Cold War against the Igbos made, even as hidden as they are, made Nnamdi Kanu a darling to those who have read their history genuinely, and those who are hot, who are so hungry with what Nigeria did to them, and Nigeria live in denial of it, and Nigeria continue to say, forget about it, you are just you mourning lazy clowns. They are not clowns. When they say millions of people died, they're talking about humans, people whose own the survivors are today. They're never going to forget, and Nigeria is not going to admit. So if that's not going to happen, somebody said, then let's go our separate ways. Igbos can't be your president. Have you asked yourself why? Your parents said they can't. Your parents said they can't be the president of Nigeria. But your parents also said, if they try to leave Nigeria, Nigeria will kill them. Are your parents not mad? It's a question. No, I don't care about your parents if you are one of those who have that mindset. Oh. Think about this. They said they would not, and they will no longer be the cannon fodder for Nigeria anymore. Ethnic cleansing, ethnic profiling, genocide, ethnic genocide. So they decided to live or die. You forced them back. Why? Just because you want Nigeria to remain big or because of their oil? You forced them back because of their oil, Abina, because to make Nigeria remain big. Because I don't understand. Now, you forced them back to be what? Not part and parcel of Nigeria? To be questioned? To be suspected? Then why do you want to keep them? See, in Yoruba land, there's a saying, they said, ẹni tí ó bá fẹ́ bá rìn má fura sí o, ẹni tó bá ti fura sí má bá rìn o. Loosely translated as whoever you want to make your friend, don't suspect him. And whoever you suspect, do not make friends with him. I mean, why would I be your friend if I'm suspecting you like I suspect you? I don't trust you. And then I'm still saying you are my friend. How does that make any sense? That's what Yoruba said. They said, if you call him your friend, then you must trust him. If you don't trust him, then he's not your friend. Stop lying. So if you don't trust Igbos in Nigeria, hello? If your establishment, your system is put together to mitigate against their growth and development as a people, which is so obvious, why are you keeping them? Your parent told you they will never lead Nigeria because they don't trust them. Fair enough. That could make sense if you are not forcing them to remain as part of Nigeria. So Nnamdi Kanu became a darling to those who know the truth. They would not going to live the lie. And that's one thing about knowing the truth. Once you know it, you don't want to live the lie again. It's going to be like you are just injuring yourself. You are hurting yourself. You know the truth, but you just have to put up a lie. You see, when you see people who are faking life out there, Baba, you have no idea of the kind of suffering they are going through. Putting up a face, pretending that you are what you are not. Pretending that you are part of something you are not. You're never going to be happy. Will you? So there are people like that. And they are in their millions. I'm not saying that 100% of Igbos want Biafra. But you are also not going to say that 100% of Igbos don't want Biafra. Because you don't have the figure. They are listening to him. The injustice in Nigeria continues. Okay, even with all of the old power this, power that, muzzle this, muzzle that, they took him to their court. He defeated them there. They deny him that justice. And some people are preaching unity. Show Jorawan. Do they look alike? It's a simple thing. But just yesterday, Soludo came out to say, please, release Nnamdi Kanu. I mean, court says he should be freed. Buhari, who happened to be one of those who carried out the coup, the rematch of 1966. Buhari, that was part of those who staged the pogrom against the Igbos in northern Nigeria and across Nigeria 57 years ago. Is keeping another Igbo man because that Igbo man is demanding for Biafra. It took him to court, his own court, because Buhari is now the president. It took him to court. His court said he has committed a crime by kidnapping him. Free him, let him go. Buhari said no. Injustice. Because they are looking for an opportunity to stage another one before they die. Possibility of using, now, they control the military, they control everything. Possibility of mobilizing their weapons and all of that, and then turn the Igbo land into the rumble. Into rubbles. Same thing they did in 3 years. And without any, would you believe this? 52 years after the end of Biafra War, there is no single federal government project. They say, when we say federal, built by federal government in eastern Nigeria. Not single one. Can you believe that? Maiyegun, I don't believe that. You see? I told you, you need to read. 52 years of budgeting, borrowing, loan, this, that. They will say, okay, this one is a federal government project, completed, built from scratch, completed for demo. Like you can talk about the airport in Lagos, the seaport in Lagos, this one in Kaduna, or that one in Kano, and the rest of that. Would you believe that? Can you believe that? So their anger, their rage, their disappointment, and their complete disconnect from Nigeria are all legitimate. And that's why Nnamdi Kanu, whatever you want to say about him, genuine people are listening to him, and they're standing by him too. And no matter what they are staging in eastern Nigeria, I keep saying it, they decided to militarize eastern Nigeria in order to scare the young people from listening to him. Now they have committed so much arson and crimes in eastern Nigeria that I don't even know if they have any exit plan. How are we going to exit? What are we going to use as an excuse to leave? We have killed so many people. We have destroyed so many properties. But yet these guys are not pushing back to let us declare war. I don't know. They are running out of time. And this guy seems to be interested in cashing in on that. Soludo, ladies and gentlemen.
We have also inaugurated the Truth, Justice and Peace Committee in Anambra to go to the root causes, immediate and remote causes of the insecurity in the southeast. And that commission is completing its work. We are also engaging the youth and implementing various forms of non-kinetic engagement. But it is now time for the federal government to help us with the last leg of this non-kinetic approach. We now need all the major stakeholders in the security project in the southeast to come around the table and for us to discuss. For us to discuss the security and prosperity of the southeast. And I now want to appeal and plead and request and demand of the federal government and our able president, led by the able President Buhari, that a critical person required around that table for that conversation to be complete, for us to have an all-round approach to dealing with the issue of insecurity and discussing about the future of the southeast. That person, and we need him urgently around the table. Please release him to us, and that is Nnamdi Kanu. I'm calling on the federal government to please release Nnamdi Kanu. the table because we believe that we now want to have a comprehensive, heart-to-heart conversation about the future of the Southeast, about the future security and prosperity of the Southeast. No one should be left behind. Everybody should be there. If we cannot release him unconditionally, as requested by the court judgments and so on, I now offer to be the shorty. Release him to me.
It don't they touch them, but some people are seeing some sinister motive behind that move. Some believe that Soludo is not sincerely asking for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. In fact, he's not really interested in a peace in eastern Nigeria per se. From those who are suspecting him, they said Soludo, who has visited Mazi Nnamdi Kanu at the DSS, headquarters in Abuja, he has been very hostile to the IPOB members in Anambra. In fact, he has been accused of using the military as well as their own whatever security, Ebubeagu or whatever you in Anambra, to hunt down those as, those he targeted as those that won't play balls with whatever, something is cooking in Anambra, trying to use IPOB as a partner. You know what I mean? So those who won't really play the ball with him, they are being targeted for arrest, for attack, elimination. Some of them are being killed too. All these allegations make Soludo's request a little bit like a poisoned chalice. Yeah, poisoned chalice, which is like a cup, a poisoned goblet, right? So that is offering, and the IPOB seems not to be taking it. But you see me, I've said it, and I'll say it again and again. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, an innocent man, is being locked up because of the political power play in Nigeria. They want to illegitimize his legitimate campaign, right? The demand for self-determination is actually a universal right. The criminals in Nigeria who said Nigeria unity is non-negotiable, they are not even explaining to you why. You get what I mean now? So questioning that is a legitimate thing to do. But the moment you begin to, if they legitimize it, right, then Nnamdi Kanu will likely have to run majority of these politicians, not just the Igbo politicians. So I'm talking about Nigerian politicians generally, northern politicians, so northern military generals, so southern politicians, so southern military. In fact, the entire military, what do they call them again? They call them a military. Why did I forget that? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Just like you see this military council. And those who are backing this charade called Nigeria, okay, they realize that if they legitimize that, people will be asking questions like, okay, man, that's true. Oh, that's true. Well, that's true. And when people begin to say that's true, before you know it, they will be out of place and they will be out of business. And indeed, Nigeria would have to go back to the original plan of independent regions that came together or forced together to become a country. So, Nnamdi Kanu was wrongly and illegally kidnapped from Kenya. Illegally because the court in Nigeria said he was illegally kidnapped. And for anybody to try him at all, they first have to return him back to Kenya. Yes, that's what the court says, not me. The court says return him back to Kenya. And then in Kenya, then do the proper thing. If you do the proper thing and bring him here, we can then try him. As at today, there is no court that can try Nnamdi Kanu. No court. Any court that tries it is illegal act. Yes, and Boko Haram is illegal. Injustice in Nigeria is exactly why Nigeria is breaking apart. So Soludo begging him, I want to be his shorty, and all of that is a Nigerian way of saying, beg your oppressor, prostrate for them, give them a deal. And some said it's actually not in good faith. He said he's doing it to make sure that he knows if Nnamdi Kanu is out, right? He's likely going to influence the election by telling the Biafrans not to vote. And once he says no vote, then Obi will be affected. A lot of people are saying a lot of things, right? But I don't care about what you are saying. An innocent man is being locked up in the scheme of this whole thing. He is being locked up illegally. Listen, I've told you, I said, you may not like him. You may not like what he has said. You may actually hate him. Nigeria can make you hate him, right? Fine. But do you know that liking him, not liking him, all of that, all of them didn't make him, all of them will make him a criminal. No matter how much you want him to be proven to be a criminal, listen, that you want him to be proved as a criminal or to be convicted for anything at all, doesn't make it legit. Honestly. Look at all the things he said. Maiyegun, let us be honest. Listen, it doesn't matter what you think anymore. This guy was presented in your court. They charged him for all those things you are talking about. And the court said they are inconsequential. They are absolute nonsense. And we're not going to listen to them. They can't jail him. And that is a fact. So keeping him there is illegal. If Nigeria is breaking apart because of injustice, now here you have a golden one. An innocent man locked up by Nigeria. Do you really think that that's going to bring a unity? Of course it won't. No matter how much you live in denial of that. So yeah, they have to beg. Let's go and beg our oppressor. Say, sorry sir, you are going somewhere. They say somebody slap you. Bah! Say, wait till I do, you slap me. Say, that person is soldier. But I didn't do anything, sir. Soldier, you slap me. Say, kneel down and say sorry. Say sorry. You don't they call a soldier, you don't they call barrack. If they carry you from here in a barrack, say sorry, maybe they go. Sorry, sir. I'm very sorry, sir. I'm very sorry, sir. God will judge you. God will judge. Guys, don't let him hear you. That's the kind. Let us go and beg a criminal for keeping an innocent man in jail. An innocent man that if he should come out right now, even all of you that are fighting Boko Haram because of injustice, because of this or that, because of what they have done to you, because of what the Shege Nigeria have made you see, right? Some of you are also like enablers of your oppressors. I remember how sad a lot of you are when they said that Nnamdi Kanu should be freed. Soludo seems to be pushing, and his prayer should be answered. I don't give a damn. Even if not devil go release him. He's an innocent man. He's done nothing wrong. He's confessed his mind and he's spoken his mind. And the freedom of speech or speaking your mind means if I say something wrong, take me to court. You don't lock me up and jail me and say, yeah, because of what you said you are going to do. That's not how the world works. So if Soludo is going to get Nnamdi Kanu out tomorrow, obedient, you will deal with it. Don't worry yourself. Your own whatever right you are fighting for should not be or should hinder the freedom of an innocent person. Maiyegun is not innocent. Who are you? Judge Shukuka? Abi Justice Bolaniwa? Where is your court? Or you are part you the craze. Injustice in Nigeria is for everybody. Now, because all of una, sometimes, that's why I said you love your oppressors differently. Some of you, you are not against injustice. You are not against, what do you call it? Corruption, nepotism, and all this. You are not really against them. Yeah? The only reason why you are against oppression is because you are not the one doing the oppression. That is why a lot of you are waiting for the day you are going to do your own oppression. Justice is blind. Our Lady Justice is blind. Okay? It doesn't see you as a man or a woman, a Christian or a Muslim, a male or a female, man or woman, rich or poor. Is this. Nnamdi Kanu defeated them in their court. They lock him up. That is illegal. Do you understand that? Where your own right stops is where another man starts. Remember that always. And Soludo shouldn't be begging their Boko Haram. But if they have to beg the devil, free the honest man, free the innocent man. That's it. Then deal with the rest of your own struggle. Face it. You don't lock a man up and say, it's because he's good. He's done nothing. And Nigeria is spending so much to convince you that he is responsible for this, responsible for that. But if he's responsible for all of this, where is the best place to prove it? Other than the court, the man is with you. You kidnapped him. He's in your court. He's in your custody. Now go to the place and present all this evidence. They did. And they got punched in the nose. Now they are ashamed of letting him go. He's a free man, illegally detained. Actually missed him. Let me kind of listen to his voice for a minute.
My name is Nnamdi Kanu, and the reason why we're here today is to protest the killing of innocent women and children, and men for that matter, all over Nigeria, especially in the northern part of Nigeria. We are not happy, we are not pleased with what is happening, and that is why we're here today. As you can see, there are a lot of Nigerians who are protesting about the killing of families, people who are determined to tear the country apart violently, and it is not something that we support. It is not something that we would like to see continue, and we are here today to send a clear message to the Nigerian government, to the High Commissioner, that what is happening in the country is unacceptable, and we cannot accept it. If that continues, it will lead to the violent disintegration of the country. There will be no more Nigeria for anyone to go to. There will be no Nigeria for anyone to refer to. In fact, what is happening in Somalia today will be like a tea party. So we cannot allow this nonsense to continue. Something has to be done. And the consequences of the actions of terrorism in Nigeria must be driven home to the people, so that even the terrorists themselves will be able to understand that there is no mileage in where they're going. The only thing they can accomplish is the breakup of Nigeria. If they think that they can cower people, if they think they can force people to be coerced into a religion which is not theirs, then they are clearly mistaken. We are asking for peace. We are asking for people to get together. We are asking for everybody who loves Nigeria, who is associated with that country, to please prevail upon terrorism in Nigeria so we can bring it to an end. That is why a multitude of Nigerians are gathered here today. Those of us in the UK are determined to work with the government for peace. We are determined to work with the international community for peace. The one thing we cannot stomach is a repeat of 1966. What is happening today in Nigeria was the reason why Nigeria fought a bitter civil war for 3 years between 1967 and 1970. If this continues, there will be another civil war in Nigeria. And this time around, no place will be safe in Nigeria. This time around...
He was right. We are not fighting war, but thousands of our people are dying almost every month. I'm not joking. Thousands are being kidnapped. Ransoms are being paid to people that are more powerful than the Nigerian defense system, the Nigerian defense agent or whatever. But that guy is being locked up because he said they will fight with the last blood and they will defend themselves against Fulani terrorists. He brought that to our attention. But they want you to hate him, do all of that. He's been locked up for almost 2 years now, illegally. And Nigeria continues to go down terribly. So he's not the source of your problems. He's never the source of it. He's actually part of the solution. Part of the solution. So a few days ago, they said that Pastor Tunde BBakare don't retract his endorsement of Tinubu. Why? What happened? What happened to Sir Tunde BBakare? Suddenly, I mean, just 2 years ago, thereabout, he was telling us about Tinubu and his exploits, how great and all that. Then he ran against him too in their APC, Egbekegbe's primaries, where he paid 100 million naira for the form, Pastor Tunde BBakare. And he got 0 votes. I'm so sorry. Are you not allowed to vote for yourself in an election? I mean, I would think that you are allowed to vote for yourself in an election. Yeah, election you are participating in. You vote for yourself. Pastor Tunde BBakare paid 100 million naira for 0 votes during APC, Egbekegbe's primary. I didn't even know he was a member. Then I saw a video, right? I thought, oh, it must be. I mean, first of all, we thought we are all like trying to save Nigeria group, save Nigeria. What's happened? Why you go pay 100 million naira for APC form? They say, you don't forget saying don't be Bokwari's deputy before. They say, oh. The Bokwari that introduced himself as
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Muhammad Buhari, and today I am 69 years old. And I am sure I don't have... And I'm sure I don't have to remind you that I have fought many battles in my life. I have fought drift and purposelessness in this nation. I have fought corruption and indiscipline. I have fought indolence and betrayal of trust. I have fought the Nigerian civil war and struggled for the unity of this country in many other ways. I have had the fortune and privilege of managing national resources in various capacities. As a military commander, as a state governor, as a minister of petroleum, and as the head of state of this great country. And in all that I have been and done, I have never touched a kobo of public funds.
Ole. He's a thief. Don't believe that, oh. That's why he said he was surprised that Gandola, the Kano State governor, the Babariga mobile banking CEO of Kano, Gandola, that he collected dollar bribe by himself instead of sending people. That's it. I have never taken a kobo. And he was the principal to Pastor Tunde Bakare. So Satuna decided to try his luck, because when Bokwari first tried to be president of Nigeria, he picked an Igbo man. And this was in 2003. In 2007, he picked another Igbo man. It didn't work. In 2011, he picked a pastor, because they are calling him a bigot. Bokwari is an Islamic bigot. Is this and that. To prove that he's not going to be a bigot, he picked a pastor. And that pastor happened to be Pastor Tunde Bakare. Yeah, pastor. Then pastor realized that, come, what is your problem, all of you, including me? Baba was talking to me. You, Maiyegun, especially all these you Yorubas. Hating on Tinubu. Tinubu, what do you want to do with his background? What is all this nonsense? But I'm not sad. No, that would be a lie. I don't like to lie. I wanted to say, I can say it's a shocker when Pastor Tunde Bakare today called the answer, who killed Funshaw Williams? Who killed Bola Ige? What happened, sir? Waiting change. Muslim ticket is an evil. Pastor Enisuru now. You forget when you told us this one? I was there all along ago. Where they listen say, well, Pastor, just pray, say, may God forgive me, if I have done anything wrong, because I just believe that Tinubu is a criminal. And because Nigeria is a crime scene where criminals are always rewarded, depends on the type of crime you got yourself involved in. So they could get away with anything. So, Pastor, if I am one of those sinners who are questioning the genuinity of Tinubu because of what we know, then I'm a sinner, I'm going to hell. Just pray for me. Because I was sitting there that day when Pastor Bakare was preaching this. You won't believe it.
At this juncture, I have a word for some Yoruba people whose stock in trade is nothing but a rancorous noise characterized by bitterness and resentment about the ancestors.
That's why he called us. For asking questions. For asking questions. He called us names. Rancorous hatred. Now, Oyinbo pastor, they speak. For asking questions, sit back, man, go make another tea. It's a long video. Listen to this. Then we'll come back and then we'll ask, what changed? Satuna, what changed, Or listen to this again.
At this juncture, I have a word for some Yoruba people whose stock in trade is nothing but a rancorous noise characterized by bitterness and resentment about the ancestry of the former two-term governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Hello. Carry your story. Shall I repeat myself? I say I have a word for those Yoruba and chorus elements, noise makers who had not achieved as much as Asiwaju Bola Tinubu had achieved, but they are always querying and worrying themselves about his ancestry. His trade users are quick to tell you he's from Iragbiji. That's where Jeff came from. That's where he fled to. Oh, he's from Iragbiji in Osun State. He's not from Lagos State. As if that will resolve the issues that we face today. Please hear me loud and clear. Knowing the name of Asiwaju's biological mother or father or his place of birth cannot put food on the table of the hungry or create jobs for the unemployed and the unemployable. Despite his growing up challenges, the dangers and the detours of his life, he, like Jephthah in the Bible, delivered Lagos State and nearly all the southwest states from the onslaught of the PDP from 1999 to 2007. And truth be told, without his cooperation and political dexterity, the APC victory at the polls in 2015 and 2019 would have been impossible. People, please note that I'm not Asiwaju's brand manager and definitely do not endorse everything you might have read about his present or his past or his lifestyle, his politics or his businesses. His spokesman can do that for him. All I know is that just as every saint has a past, every sinner has a future, and the best of men are still men at the very best. Frankly speaking, I'm not very sure that many of his trade users would have survived if they had gone through the vicissitude of life that Asiwaju Bola Tinubu went through. Therefore, those who are envious of him and those who desire to take his power slot should stop their useless talk about him and busy themselves with what can add value to society. Furthermore, no right-thinking person would describe himself as a self-made man. In the words of Judge Matthew Adams, there's no such thing as a self-made man. We are made up of thousands of others. Everyone who has ever done a kind deed to us or spoken the word of encouragement to us has entered into the makeup of our character and of our thoughts as well as our success. I think this was the basis of the relationship between the late Iyaloja Abibat Mogaji and his adopted son Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Therefore, the latter calling the former his mother is not only proper, it is also honorable. It is those demonizing their mother and son relationship that should find something profitable to do with their time.
What's going on, Christian? What's going on, Christian? What's going on?
Everybody yes. Don't be shocked. Because all of us, we pastor, they throw punch. They throw water at, eh? Baba said, don't go wear suit. That was Agbada. Now Baba don't go wear suit. Change them for all of us. Oh man, who killed this or that? That's what he's asking, oh. Pastor Bakare. Ladies and gentlemen.
Politics of elimination. When we think of the politics of elimination, we remember our nation's unresolved political assassinations and the lingering questions they elicit. Who killed Funsha Williams? Who killed Bola Ige? Who killed Marshall Harry? Who killed Victoria Chintex? By eliminating opponents, the practitioners of the politics of elimination deprive the nation of leaders who are, more often than not, better than themselves. Number 10, politics of entitlement. This is the Milokon type of politics. that insists on one's turn even if circumstances do not align. Politics of entitlement also manifests as perennial candidacy, not with the intent to serve, but to gratify long-term personal ambitions. It could also manifest as insistence on a given political office as a reward for what one considers a lifetime of sacrifice to the nation. Politicians with a sense of entitlement evade political debates. They do not consider it imperative to communicate with the electorate. Entitlement politics will breed an imperial presidency that is distant from the people and has no sense of responsibility or accountability to the people. Such imperial governance will slide towards dictatorship and will be intolerant of dissent. Entitlement politicians set low performance benchmarks for themselves when they secure power and are content with projecting molehills as mountains of achievement.
Do you now see why I played that video earlier? That go with my guy. My guy. See, 1 second though. That's the guy. That's how I felt when I listened to that today. Like Pastor BBakare.
What's going on, Christian? What's going on, Christian?
Oh, got you. No politics of Emilio Khan. Waiting change, but don't bank on it. You may wake up tomorrow and Pastor BBakare may say another thing again, as directed by the Holy Spirit. And none of you can actually understand the word of the Holy Spirit in a way. And that is why some of us choose, to just stay our day and pray to God in this manner.
Alhamdulillah. 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 Alhamdulillah.
Rabbi, you are me. Anyway, as the situation is already taking shape, our money is already exchanging hands. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have the right money, or should I say if you have the right bag of money, rather, in Nigeria, where politicians are walking about with bag of money, and then buying those they can buy, one thing you probably would never believe was that they would do it publicly, like come out and say, okay, how much you are worth? Oh yeah, give them this money. Until I saw a video of Iyaloja, Tinubu's daughter. Whenever I had any public office, suddenly they don't call her Excellency. Yesterday, na Jagabanami, we unveiled Jagabanami. Here you get the future. Oh dear. Man. I just remember something, right? David was talking about, he said, Boko Haram claim responsibility. Then it was like Jagaban Haram or something like that. I don't know. As in Boko Jagaban, something like to say in the future, you'll be reading the news and they will say Jagaban Army claim responsibility. You get what I mean? So yeah, pastors are already taking this further to say, it be like saying battle for our life with this one, as they are like kind of, So people are being bought, getting paid. You just never believe that they will do it publicly, right? Take a look at this one. After the Kanu rally, which you all saw, to say thank you, Our Excellency, Charade Tinubu.
For the rally we did yesterday, we have 1,000 members of the committee that look after different affairs of the organization. And we did not relent. We finished yesterday. We need to rest at least today, but we say we have no rest because we promised Ashwaju for the support group only 1 million votes. And the government and the party and the rest will have another 2 million votes for Tinubu. So we want to keep to that promised. That's why we are not relenting. What happened actually this morning, Her Excellency, a branch in my house, and she said she just come to appreciate me with the sum of 10 million naira for what she saw. I was very happy, of course, and I request her to please come with me. She doesn't know what I'm going to do. Your Excellency, these are the people on the field, and I decide to give this 10 million naira that you give to me to them. I'm taking only 1 million naira. I'm taking.
Oh dear. I think that is why they need Emefiole to be gone as soon as possible. Emefiole is saying that you cannot see such money after this 31st of December. I'm sorry, 31st of January. You can no longer see people moving money in bags like that anymore. It's going to be like it's impossible, which is not Nigeria. Nigeria is a crime scene, so don't believe that, okay? So some said that they are already disposing of the cash before the money expire. So that is why everywhere they go now, if you see them, oh, you better collect your own share. If you see them anywhere, hold them, oh. Inside their cars, there are hundreds of millions of naira that they are carrying about, old notes. Here you get. And they can't take all of them to the bank. But the only thing is that, Baba, if you can't get that much money, even me, Maiyegun, if I give your Gio, your Sheikh, Imam, and all of them, if I pay people proper, you go see, say, I be Excellency. Now you go to ask later, say, sorry, Excellency of what? I don't understand. Did I just hear His Excellency, Honorable Maiyegun General? Like, why are they calling him His Excellency? Now it's an His Excellency now. If they say His Excellency, no. If he call himself His Excellency, then he's an His Excellency, no. Charade, she is only prominent because she is a daughter to a politician who now used his position as a former governor in a state to make him the Yaloja general, all of the markets in a state. Make her the head of all the markets in Lagos State. She's rich, very rich. Free money now. Just like they are promising the Yahoo in Benin. All the Yahoo in Benin, they are going to turn you into those who are making potato chips or plantain chips. They will teach you how to make money, how to collect money, like Lagos. That's Shade's record, though. That's the only record. She's a daughter. Oh, Kofo, my daughter. I wish I have such influence. I just don't do things that way. I have a daughter, Kofo Rolla. I'll give her the world. I'll give her anything. You get what I mean? Like, I'll give her everything. Yeah. But not like this. Not this one. To the detriment of others. Okay, fine. That's Charade in Kano to say thank you to the people that help them mobilize people in Kano. They might be talking to that your favorite person right now. And a bag of money. This is not transfer. Bag of money. Cash. Flying everywhere. I mean, bullion van is not new, is it? You've heard about bullion vans during elections. You may not see that this time around. Your own share may be... You know, another crazy thing is this, right? Nigeria is a crazy place, okay? You see these politicians, they were paying their delegates. The delegates that they bought, that made them candidates of their parties, they were paying them dollars. There were candidates that collected as much as $50,000. I mean, people went as delegates to go and vote candidate of a party. They returned back to their state. Some of them were buying cars. Some of them were finishing their house projects. No joke. But you see the rest of you hungry slaves around, yeah, they are easily asking you, right? To what? To just get paid 40,000 naira. And that should be enough for you, shouldn't it? 40 grand. I mean, no, 4 grand, not 40. One pastor, they cost you here. Just say amen, okay? Because the whole church says amen. They said amen.
Just still use the election coming as example. Where they'll give some people 1 cup of gari, 1 cup of rice, 1 cup of beans, and they will sell. And they will be giving them. Meanwhile, you have mortgaged your destiny. Go the other day. Go for BBakare and pray. Now look at the prayer I prayed. One day I prayed. You know the prayer I told God, as many that will collect 4,000 or 10,000 to sell their vote, may they never see more than 10,000 in another 8 years. Maybe you didn't hear the prayer. Let me repeat the prayer. Whether not 20,000 or whether not 30 they get later you bargain for, may that become the highest that person will see. All through that tenor in the name of Jesus. But he never, even at 4,000, he come. Everything where he gather no go past 4,000. Now so 4,000 you go receive go for dream. If you go market finish, come back now 4,000. If you buy goods 10,000, you go sell on 4,000. I thank God you said amen. And we are going to say that amen. Even if you don't use your mind, talk someone don't use your mind, amen. As long as you don't put amen, our amen carry you. Because if you understand the place of destiny, that was what Esau did. God said, I hate Esau. God said, he said, Esau, I hate. Jacob, I love. Jacob did not carry hunger, bought his birthright. He said, what will this birthright do to me with hunger? He sold this. Like, be like a person who uses papa land, he sell because he needed a plate of food. I want to talk and go say, but many of us are doing worse than that. How can you sell your food? Because you are blind. If you are not blind, you know that this thing is a generational blessing. Not just only your children's destiny is attached to it.
Everybody said amen. I mean, he told them, he said, listen, even if your amen is not genuine, right? Our amen could carry your own amen. You go suffer up. But people are still going to do what they have to do, won't they? Oh, yeah, they will do what they have to do. But you should always just remember that whatever you do, the consequences of the actions or your actions and inactions as well, they are always going to be yours to bear. I mean, own it. Beat your chest and say, yes, that's what I did. That's me. I did that. Don't try to like look for who to blame, right? For your own actions. So I believe that I have spent so long a time with you. We were supposed to raise funds tonight. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to share a few of my links. I'm going to take calls, right? Share a few links and take calls for just about half an hour. And then we can call it a night, okay? I'm so sorry. I should have dedicated this a long time. I was enjoying myself. I mean, sharing that. And I still have so much to share. It's just that it will be so kind of unkind for those that I have actually invited to be part of this conversation tonight when we raise a fund to add to, an organization that I am part of, right? Yoruba Union, who has been out there reaching out to the people of Yoruba land in our own small way, right? So we did about 500, where we did about 600 family support program last December, just last month, right? We gave out food and all that to about 500 people and an additional 100 people outside the budget plan because we could spare that. We're able to do that with just about 3 million naira. Now, we decided that this month, when students and children are going back to school, the level of lack and then out of school children in Yoruba land is becoming alarming. We may not be able to stop it, but we can do our best to at least reduce it. So reducing it prompted us to say, okay, we're going to come together and do something, reach out to those children, starting from the younger, right? And start sharing the message that they are meant to grow up to know, something, a message of liberation, something they have to actually hone themselves. How do you be part of that? Is by bringing them on board. So we were targeting 10,000 school children. But do you know what happened? We, with time, and then so many other things have been planned as well, we realized that we may not be able to match that target. So we have reduced it to 5,000 or 6,000 school children. 6,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 6,000. And this is going to make us, or have us print 50,000 school books, exercise books that are going to go into the hands of the school children. Now, I am not the only person right here, right? There's so much people who have been behind the scene, working around this, putting the data together. I am just here to rally everybody around to put the resources together for that. Before you begin to come across our videos, our clips that are indeed going to be showcasing these people we are meeting and all of that. So I'm going to share my link in the comments. Donation is voluntary, but every penny you contribute to this is really, really appreciated. It's going to help a lot of people that you are likely not going to know. So far, so good. We have raised at least 7 million naira, yeah? And we have another target of about 2 million naira. You can make that happen, can't we? And there's no time. Hello there, sorry.
Baba Ekushe, what done?
Oh, got you. Ekale.
Abi.
It's been a long night.
I was enjoying it actually. I was enjoying it.
Baba, thank you so much.
I was enjoying it.
So, how you be?
Well, I don't have much to say, but you see, we Nigerians, sorry, Nigerians, because I don't understand as Nigerian.
Well, you may not actually answer that anymore, but officially, a lot of us will still have to answer Nigeria.
Yeah, but the thing is, I was having this conversation with someone the other day. But what actually make up your identity? Yeah. So, for instance, by passport Japanese.
Yes.
Am I a Japanese actually, or am I just a black man or a black person that has Japanese document?
Through naturalization, I think it's normal all over the world. If you are not from there, something will always remind you where you come from. That's why they call it dual citizenship.
Now,
yeah, go on.
Yeah, there is no Nigerian blood.
No.
My daughter is half English, half Yoruba. So my DNA test, only Nigerian blood. You know, but see, we are the people that are the part Nigeria that they want to keep Nigeria as one. And sometimes I kind of find it very frustrating when you ask them what is the reason why, can you objective why you want to keep Nigeria as one? They will tell you because we want a big nation, the largest black nation on earth.
Yeah, so don't you understand that
this individual,
come on, big for nothing.
This individual as well. This individual, they will go to Estonia embassy to go and apply for visa. Estonia is just 2 million people. Now you let a country that is big, that you want to keep, to go and live in a country that is small, that is peaceful. What is your purpose in life? Have you come to this world to suffer, to live in a big country, or you've come to this life to enjoy?
At least.
You know, now, and there's something to point out, which I think is a big problem in the entire space in Nigeria, which I think is miseducation.
Miseducation.
When we talk about tribalism, now, Timashin Koni Simbayi, that favors Yoruba people will call me a tribalist. Now, but we need to break this thing down. What is the tribe? What is tribalism? What is nationality? What is the nation? And what is nationalism? You understand? See, people are attaching tribalism with hatred, and which is not. There is no Nigerian leader that is tribalistic. If that's an English word, there is no see Nigerian leader. See, if they are tribalistic, if, for example, let's say we have a Yoruba politicians that are tribalistic, at least they'll be fighting for the cause of the Yoruba people.
They are not.
They are not. So tribalistic is not mean you hate other people. It means you're looking for your own people, not your own selfish interest.
Yourself. Yeah, but you know something is that What we have with our own type of tribalism that is obvious, right, is that it is not just loving ourselves and our tribe. It is how we kind of introduce a level of a condescending tone and attitude towards others, which is obvious. A lot of people do that. Igbos do it. Yorubas do it. A lot of people do that. We are better than you.
Baba, do you know why?
Yeah, go on.
Do you know why? It's Nigeria.
That's what caused it.
As long as Nigeria exists, we're going to hate each other. There's nothing anybody can do about it. Now, I've had the argument with guys. One EP should be American here, with different ethnic group, or peaceful. Should be Brazilian here, or peaceful. But what people don't realize is that when you go to countries like America, Barbados, all those countries where Dominica, they are black countries and they are progressive. The same reason why America is progressive is the same reason why Barbados is a progressive nation. It's the same reason why Nigerians in diaspora, they cooperate more than when they are at home. Are bleeding. Do you know why? Because when you are not in your land, it's different. Your land is a system. It's an institution. You know, it's an institution. So, as long as Nigeria exists, I will not know peace. Now,
and it's not because we don't want peace or we don't wish peace for Nigeria, but it's just not going to happen.
For Nigeria.
You know what I mean? You don't get peace by wishing for it. Okay?
No.
And if you figure out that the reason why there is no peace is because of our differences, why don't you address those differences? And what are the things that can respect those differences, right? By letting everybody go back to where we all started from. We can begin to respect ourselves that way and reduce the tension of, I am better than you. You are better than me. Oh,
Baba,
we just gave you that chance. We just gave you that chance because we wanted you to have the chance.
Today.
Yeah, go on.
If France and England become one country today,
there will be war.
Everything will scatter.
Without waste of time, no doubt.
You know, so but people are too emotional. We are emotional beings. We pray for peace. We pray for unity. We pray for everything. You don't pray for peace.
But
you don't pray for unity.
We do nothing to bring those things about. We just pray.
The act of the Union, 1748, 1748, that binds Scotland with England. We still have it today.
Yes.
Yeah, we knew that people sat down and had an agreement. If to date,
I didn't know. I didn't even know until I came to this country, right? That first, right? They fought that they will not be part of the Union, which became the Great Britain today. They fought when they were about to be conquered. They were not conquered and then being forced to be part of it. They signed a deal of being part of that union under different terms. Baba, they said at some point, Scotland withdrew from this. Do you know that they have to come back again to join again? Scotland has left this union once before. They came back under another arrangement to say, okay, yeah, we want to come back now. Now they are saying they want to leave again, right? Which is not new. For Nigeria, we have no written arrangement that says Igbo, so they came to this arrangement. Yorubas, so they came to this conclusion. Hausa, so under this condition, they came here. We have nothing, and they want us to pray for peace. You don't pray for peace.
Well, you don't. Actually, people, when you study history and you look around the world and you look at how things are done, how countries are become, all these things.
How they came to be.
Nigeria is Konoma. Nigeria or Noma. No, more serious Konoma. Because okay, let's take for instance, Malaysia and Singapore. Yeah?
Yep.
Malaysia and Singapore. They were once a country. Malaysia said they don't want Singapore. And Singapore went. Singapore is not a big country now.
No.
It's not a big country. Colombia, what is this country called? Panama. Yeah? It's one country. Yeah? So you can't just bring a lot of people together. Monkey and baboon, they look alike,
without an
but
agreement,
they are not the same thing.
But they are not.
The same thing. Turkey and chicken look alike, but they are not the same thing.
They are not.
You know, your history, your school curriculum must reflect your culture, who you are. Yesterday, last week on Friday, I was asking my daughter, working in school, only we did the British value. Now, okay, in my own, in the place where I came from, there's nothing like Nigerian value, but we have what we call Yoruba value.
Yes. Omoluabi.
Mm-hmm. But there's nothing like Nigerian value. And if you look Nigerian holidays, there is nothing like national holiday that reflect our history, our holidays for
anything Yoruba.
Anything. Because sometimes I do get emotional about these things. I was thinking about Kurumi. Kurumi, a Yoruba warrior that died with 6 children one day by defending Yoruba land. Nobody remember it today, just like that. That could have been a part of our national history as a national holiday, assuming we are one country. Country. You know, and these things is very important to our psychic, the way we reason, our philosophy, the way we act. But right now, everything we all doing is all about surviving, making money. And the society is just. I went to Nigeria last year. There is no single road. Baba. No single road. No single road.
Can you believe that? Àwọn tó ń rule Ilé-Ifẹ̀, àwọn tó ń rule Ilé-Ifẹ̀, tó ń rule Ọ̀ṣun, ọmọ Yorùbá náà ni wọ́n. Who should we now cry to?
Baba, gbogbo wọn.
Nǹkan ti ṣe wá o.
Ṣẹ́rí, this revolution tó máa ṣẹlẹ̀. This revolution tó máa ṣẹlẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Mi ò ní Nàìjíríà, of course, revolution kò lè ṣẹlẹ̀
nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ló ti máa kọ́kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ náà. Ẹ máa wòran lọ́sẹ̀. Baba.
Nàìjíríà kò lè ṣẹlẹ̀ Nàìjíríà, but ilẹ̀ Yorùbá is due for revolution.
Thank you so much. Let me take another call.
Okay, Baba. Sorry.
No, I mean, I just thought that we could just manage the whole time because we are running out of it anyway. But yeah, you are a wonderful communicator, I have to say. But thank you for stopping by. I love that. Hello there. Oh, Ahmed, how are you? You are with us tonight as well. How are you doing?
Igboro
di daru, my brother. That guy na Cruz.
Maiyegun,
Tell me.
you're supposed to know who killed Funshaw Williams. I'm telling you, you need to know who killed Funshaw Williams.
No, I'm going to wait for Tunde Bakare. No, I'm going to wait for him. He's such a person that is going to finally tell us. But it's just that it's not straightforward.
He has a lot to say.
And then we would love to hear from him. Because if all of us, if you and I say it, they will say because we don't like Tinubu. I didn't mention Tinubu.
We don't like it.
I didn't say he killed him. I'm just saying that if you and I say it, they will say because we don't like Tinubu. Who killed Funshaw Williams? So who killed Funshaw Williams? So Tunde will tell us. Satuna.
Yeah, he will tell us.
One day.
I won't really. You see, Maiyegun,
sir,
I really enjoyed the program, you know. And
thank you.
You see this tribalism we will talk. Actually, it's now one of those things where we say me self I experienced then.
Now all of us they guilty. That's the only thing where they pay me. Now wait they pay me to say if you now know the truth, the ideal thing is what? You should do better. Don't double down. A lot of people are old people today, but they still do it. They don't see it as anything. They say, but you don't know. Come on, Ahmed.
I have few Igbo friends back in Nigeria, which I do mess with them. I say shege nyamuri. Normal to their face. And
you are just, see Aboki talk now. If you say, hey, Aboki, people know that Aboki is a friend. Aboki is my friend.
Aboki is a friend.
Right?
But if you will not be outside, call Aboki, you call him. If he don't say they try to insult him.
They try to.
Normal.
And all of these are part of our lives. that are in fact hidden, where our hidden bigotry got nurtured. A lot of people don't know.
You see,
Go on.
These things would have been normal. But to me, it's very normal, because normal outside children go look you, Kate and Yerba, Shaggy, and Iska Damba. I go look you, I go add my own, I go double
it. Just do and they go, because it don't mean anything to you, I know.
It go say thank Yerba, me, I go say Damba House. I go cause you back. If not cause, me say I cause, if not play, I follow you play. But normal with the follow ourselves play. So you see, all these things Van are waiting Nigeria don't build, give us.
Honestly.
And many people are living on that. By the time, if they want to say something, they'll be like, I hear about it. Or they'll say, I have halin sikena. Like na Yorubas now. I be na Igbos now.
The Igbos now, we know them now. Oh, they are Yorubas now, we know them now. Oh, they are Hausas now. We know that's what they do now.
We know them.
You know where they are Fulanis. I'm not surprised. Come on.
You understand? So many of them don't understand. They don't know the difference between make them be on their own, because they don't know. They don't understand that they themselves, Hausas themselves. I used to tell most of, I say, look, let me tell you yourself. Do you know that you yourself, you are nationalities on your own?
Yes.
I don't know if there was one certain time during when the Queen of UK, what's in their name, Queen Elizabeth died.
Yeah, the Queen.
He gets one animal like that. Yeah, he get one animal. He be like na Erufai Pikin ba abi. Yeah, he be like na Erufai Pikin. He tweet something. He say, "Thank you, Queen, for making for making us from northern Nigeria be the ones handling the affairs of Nigeria." Something, you type something like that.
Yeah, something thank you so much, Queen Elizabeth, for letting for handing Nigeria over to the northern Nigeria to manage or something. Yeah, I think I saw something like that.
Yeah,
bigoted madman. Honestly, go on.
Yeah, so I was explaining that. I say, okay, now this animal that posted this thing that many of you are liking. Now go back to the same person he's thanking, the dead person that he's thanking. Go back to where she comes from. Do you know that they have 4 countries in that their own Great Britain?
Yes.
They have 4 countries. They are under UK, but everybody does their own thing. And it's just a typical example of you as an outer man, me as a Yoruba person, Igbo, and other tribes like that. We are supposed to be doing our things differently. We can live together,
we can live together without touching ourselves. If anybody don't touch anybody,
we don't want anybody's law to be above anybody's law. You have your own law. I used to ask them this way. I say, look, calm down now. Leave hypocrisy. Leave. I'll tell them, just leave hypocrisy aside. Now think about it for a minute. You as an Hausa person and Igbo person, what is it that you have in common? Just one thing that you have in common. What is that one thing that you have in common?
That you are going to miss if we break up? What is that thing that you share together that you don't want to lose? You don't want to miss?
You cannot say nothing. Next thing you go here, Ato, but Dumuna Nigeria. Then I'll tell him. I'll say, well, that is where you get it. That is where you got that wrong. You got that wrong there. That Nigeria that you are saying, it doesn't exist. It is the confusion they want to confuse. That is why they give you that Nigeria. They make you believe that Nigeria is above you. You as an outside person, that Nigeria is above you, which it is not. Okay, now let me give you another one. In school, they will tell you if you speak Hausa, because we for school then we go speak Hausa now. If you speak Hausa, na vernacular we dey speak.
Same with us as Yoruba. Same with the Igbos too. If you speak Igbo in your school, it's vernacular. You pay.
Then I'm telling them, I said, you don't you know that English? I'll say, yaran ubanka ne English. Babanka bature ne. Then most of them, there are things that if I say, they will sit down and think, they will still go back. they cannot agree. They will still go back and say, but you know, say the thing. I say no.
The mental capacity, they don't have it. They can't really process and keep things. That's the damages of Nigeria.
Yes, until you agree with it before you can find a way. You cannot just go and sit down and be doing 4 raka, 2 raka in the corner of your room, praying to God to come and save you from the same people that you will go out and go and vote
to deal with you.
I was talking to my mom yesterday, a bit today. She said NMPP, they came around, they were campaigning. So they were one Jew.
Who? NMPC and NMPP.
They were now throwing money in the air. Because she has a very big shop that she sells supermarket and stuff like that in front of her shop and stuff like that. So mommy, do you have voters card? Oh, I will so mommy, catching that day, cow and take a cow, a number that back. That means she should bring a voters card. You get within away they go take, they go give her money. My mom see look and say, "She only a buru. Me I say mojo ele below you. Abayi e ba she. Only ka o fa usa gbese ri kana o kani ni na ma kamade mi yunwani as in she ele below pe mi ni. Abi iru rada o yen to wan sọ fún mi pé kí mi mú. Láyé tó bá tún dánrú ẹ wò. Tó bá tún dánrú ẹ wò orí àbúrú fún ẹ lọ́rùn àbáyé ń tẹ̀lé ẹ. Mo ní kí next time tó bá tún wá omi gbóná ní kẹfì lé dànù àbọ̀ ṣubú.
I mean, it's so insulting, but it is what it is, Baba. Thank you so much. Thanks for stopping by. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much to that person who just dropped his own donation there. I appreciate that, and bless you. I'm rounding up, and my time is also coming to a close. But I have another caller. Hello there.
Hi, Maiyegun. Good evening.
Oh, Ken, how are you? If you're a Yoruba man, I would just say to you right away that you are not, or should I say, you are indeed your father's son, right? I was hoping that you're going to hear me and then you're going to come on. And here you are. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, and you?
Well, I'm surviving. I'm here. It's been a long night. Yeah, and thanks for calling me. Yeah, go on.
Yes. So I was watching, I think maybe it's a clip, but I think maybe it's a different clip where a pastor was praying and was saying that anybody who is going to be voting for who is in their thoughts, in their mind, that and vote for those people who are going to be that will cripple and damage whatever is left in Nigeria, that it will not be well with them. This and that. And the reaction in that congregation was going like whack.
Yeah. Wait, hang on. I have this clip from NHA, that pastor. Maybe this is the one. Hang on, no. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Yet, okay.
Money of the, you see, it is a shame for somebody to use money to buy his way into an office. If you have to spend money, it means people don't want you. It means you are a liability. You are a baggage, a package that is only meant for dustbin existence. You are not a person to come into power. Every politician sharing money is a shame. You are a shame to yourself, a shame to your generation, a shame to your family, a shame to humanity. All of you are assisting them to share the money. Shame on all of you. Those are rejected demonic agents that nobody wants. And they want to go their way by force into office to rule people that don't want them. Shame. How much were you paid to come to church this morning? You paid your transport to come. The presidents of the world, how much do they pay people before they govern them? How much does Abraham Lincoln pay?
George Washington.
Ken, I suspected it would be the guy, but it's a long video. I don't want to keep you. So yeah,
that's a different one.
Oh, it's a different one. Okay.
Yeah, it was putting on a native, and he made a lot of statements about the way he was doing the prayer, and the congregation, almost more than half of them, were like they were looking at each other. They were not even following in the completion of the prayer, because it looked like he was somehow he was able to see into their soul, and then most of them were like, you know, when you got shocked, like
when something gets to you for real with that shock surprise, like, oh, I get that.
Exactly, because he was indirectly was trying to say, if you support Tinubu or you support Atiku, you know, it shall not be well with you. It shall not, because they thought maybe he was going to be saying a prayer that was going to just a general one, but the moment he switched into those names, all of them, you know, they kept on looking like as if you were shocked.
But see, Ken, the shit is getting serious now. Like I told you, remember I said it on this platform. I said the gloves are off now. Yeah, remember I said that. Nobody's pretending anymore. Even though everybody is not pretending anymore. The gloves are off, and that is why if even in churches, they are no longer like hiding behind anything anymore. They are coming straight at it and say this ticket is evil. And if nobody's doing anything to stop it, right? The Armageddon that they've been talking about over Nigeria is going to happen faster. All this is just to stop the Armageddon. Tinubu Muslim ticket. So yeah, people are reacting seriously now.
Yeah. So and it's so unfortunate that what's his name? The last caller. I'm trying to remember his name. Ahmed. There was something he said about his mom there when they were the people who were giving us money and whatever. So that the same thing happened to from where I came my state. Wow. That they came in the you won't believe, but they did around 1 to 3 a.m. They were lobbying, buying whatever they could buy. So they said that when they were collecting the money, so what they were saying is that if you're going to collect the money, we're going to have to pick your PVC or whatever they call it, so that they can be sure that I can identify who is going to be voting this and that. So the question here was that when they came back in the morning around something 10 or 11, so the same people that took the money, which they were hoping that they would now be able to come back and then get the information about their PVC, carry the voters card, they were nowhere to be found.
So they robbed them, they ran away.
They ran away.
Those ones are mature. See, Ken, you know how they do it? I'll tell you this. Although they're going to lose a lot of money, a lot of people feels like this is it, right? If you bring your money, we'll collect it and all that. But the way they do it is this. They will first take your, they will share forms, okay? This form, they call it empowerment forms, right? They may say, we are going to give everybody 250,000 naira short loan. You go to all those remote areas. Now, in that form, they give to them your name, your address, your age, your phone number, and your PVC number. Sure you get. So that's the professional way of taking it. People will think they are going to give them loan or give them money, right? Some of them will get the money, a lot won't. Okay? Or you see all these new ones that are going about and some of the guys are going to help them waste the money too. That's not the professional way. If anybody bring money and say, I'm coming back to collect your PVC, you just pay for Mugu. Say thank you to those your people there, Ken. When you speak to them, tell them I say, well done, because nobody gives the money like that. As free as the money is, right? They ensure they take everything they can take from you before you even touch the money. But if anybody give you the money before the card, I beg take them. Even me could tell you to take them. More, Ken.
Of course, Maiyegun. Last. This is my point here. Is this: if you watch was it your yesterday's program or so when you talked about a couple of few things, some of the new information you were sharing? I said, and I watched. I think I wasn't online, so I watched the clip later. So, and I said, oh my God, it's like what myself and Maiyegun kind of discussed is playing itself as a game. It's like, once Maiyegun is away for a day or two, or maybe I don't know, he comes back, the same series. It's like the series of those we were talking about. The series are just going to be playing itself out from now to then. I'm like, okay, you know what, Maiyegun? I'm going to call today. I'm going to say, Maiyegun, congratulations. We're enjoying the series. I don't know which series are we. Are we in series 1 or 2?
Well, you just come as they come. We share them as they come, and most of the time, I just get so lost in it. Not because not because I wanted to. I just get so lost that I'm just lost in time. And tonight I said so much. Even Cyril is disagreeing with me on some things too.
Maiyegun, give it a series. Give it a series. Maybe as you're dragging it along, just give it a. Maybe we're in series 1 now. We're moving to series 2 because I'm really enjoying it because it's playing itself out. I'm telling you.
No, you open up a lot of things, right? And guess what? Right? Yes. The intention is to make sure that we start this conversation. We must. Exactly. Nigeria want to make sure that we don't. Our children and our children's children are going to be fed with a lot of lies, okay? But we need to have these conversations. Now, when we continue to have this conversation, right, a lot of truths hidden, some of them never spoken, they will start coming out. And the highlight of it is going to be that we will never want to make the same mistake they made. We will never want to live in a world where we're going to see millions of people killed because of Nigeria again. Now, to stop all of that, we need the right information. The information that is not laced with that hatred, you know, that hidden hatred, something that makes you feel so enraged and angry that you want to take a revenge and all that. That is what we are trying to stop from the history. That's what I'm trying to. But I can't really tell people how they are going to live with their trauma. Not when millions of people were slaughtered needlessly. You get what I mean? Yeah, I would love to make it a series and then get help from others too. Like my brother Cyril, I won't do. He wants me to go onto YouTube because that's what I said about the plan of the coup plotters. Listen, we are all learning from ourselves, okay? If the coup plotter says our intention was to sack all these politicians and make one of us the leader, and some people come later and say, no, their plan was to make Awolowo one. Well, if you say it's an error of omission or inclusion, I will agree with you, but I'm reading the fact-checked history, which, I mean, may not actually be 100% correct. And that's why I said, I added a proviso. I said, Cyril, I am not reading our history because I wanted to see who was right or wrong. I was actually trying to read them so that I can see who made this mistake or that. And how much of those mistakes have been repeated in our lifetime. Would we want to grow up and make such mistakes? While our own children would now, in another 10, 15, 20 years, would have to deal with this again. So the purpose is not to find who is right or wrong. Cyril, but I appreciate the call back, okay? So, Ken, you are my last caller. I'm so sorry. I was answering Cyril. I was answering you, and I was joining the whole conversation together, okay? I'll let you have these last 2 minutes, okay? Just say bye to my people. I mean, whatever will be the last addition also.
Yeah, my final addition is that we are in an open season. We're seeing everything playing itself out, and we should all not be surprised. The only thing I can only say is that we should enjoy the show as it plays itself out, and not to nobody commit open-minded, not to commit ourselves to any of these vampires.
I know
they don't care. They don't care about us. We don't exist because for them,
we are trying not to kind of relieve the experience of hate. There are so many other good things that happened at the time, but the worst one that changed our course of our history is still living with us today. We can't even tolerate ourselves. So if we know that, then we must realize that how did we come here? How did we arrive here? Now, if we really want peace for ourselves, why don't we just go back to what it used to be when we were able to do things on our own? So yeah, we are all learning. Ken.
Thank you, Maiyegun, for everything. God bless you.
And you too. And you stay safe. Bye. Thank you so much. Okay. Bye. So this is where I'm going to draw the curtains. My time is so up. I'm so sorry that we didn't start in early enough. Cyril is back. Okay. Ojukwu interview on the YouTube channel by the name of Wanchidi Igwe. I remember that interview. I do. That was years after the whole thing. But I am actually reading from the account of the coup plotters themselves. Ojukwu was not one of those coup plotters, remember? He's never one of them. Okay? But yeah, by privilege of his position at the time, he will have the best information about the whole thing. Okay? But yeah, we're all learning. So if from the side of Ojuku's account, I'm going to say, let's just look further too. There are other accounts that doesn't corroborate that. If Ojuku said that, it was never part of the coup. Just remember that, okay? But thank you for bringing that up. And we will likely learn more too. I mean, like I said, seems to be a learning curve for all of us. But don't forget the reason. They may call us a revisionist. They may call us people who just want to use the past to steer the present. No, we are not. We are trying to make sure that to show you the similarity between whatever is going on now and what happened back then, in order for you to have an idea that all of this, in a way, they are never in our interest. I have to say. I mean, some of them. Cyril, thank you so much. Again, I really do wish we could continue with these exchanges, okay? Or maybe some other time, if you have a chance, you can call in. I am so willing to learn, okay? And that's why I don't want this set to be like, but thank you. Anyway, so yeah, thank you once again. I mean, sorry, what's that? Yeah, okay. Ojukwu and Ironsi stopped the coup. We are saying the same thing, right? He wasn't part of the coup, but indeed, it was part of the soldiers that stopped the coup, of course. And the same way when the arrangement was concluded that the Senate president, who was the acting prime minister at the time, should hand over to Ironsi. And then what resulted into Ojuku's appointment as the head of the Eastern region at the time. So we are saying the same thing. Well, I think where we are like mixing it here is that, is it true that the coup plotters plotted their coup in order to break Awolowo out of prison? Unfortunately, from all the coup reports, there was not even an attempt to break into Calabar prison, which indeed wouldn't kind of justify that they were planning to release Awolowo. Again, I would have a chance where we can probably have a conversation around this. You just tell what you know, I'll tell what I know, and then people learn from this. So thank you so much, everybody, for your time tonight, okay? I am going to see you some other time, including you, Cyril. You stay safe and good night from here. And thank you, by the way, to that my donor. I know I actually mixed things up tonight. I should have managed my time so that I will be able to spend like about 90 minutes for our fundraiser. But please, I am going to pick another time that we're going to do it. We're going to do like the fundraiser like twice before the 20th of January. Because after 20th of January, we're going to start paying the printers. We're going to start the production of those exercise books. And before the end of January, they should be ready for distribution. So please help us make it happen. The link to donate is right there in the comment. And for those who have done it before and you really want to do it again, use our PayPal, use the Cash app, right? Use the Give Send Go. Every penny you give is going to go towards this. And you're going to see it. Yes, you're going to see it. We've done it before. We'll do it again. So thank you to all of you for your time. And I'm going to see you some other time. Good night.
Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun #1. Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun #1. Maiyegun ti dé o, ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun #1. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun #1. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Maiyegun já wa sí. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun #1. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun #1. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Maiyegun máa wí. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun #1. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun #1. Maiyegun Diary, Diary Politico. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun #1. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Maiyegun. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun #1. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o. kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Maiyegun Diary na ibi nọ́mbà wọn. Àní Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun Diary na ibi nọ́mbà wọn. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.